Okay, okay, fantastic, fantastic. Okay, everyone, I'm so excited. We're gonna have a fun stream. I think this is gonna be one of a two-part stream. And this is the first time I've had a guest on stream. They won't be on camera, and I'll talk about the guest in a second. But just give us some patience, because this is the first time for both of us doing something like this. And we're just still setting up. So what we're gonna do, we'll get started in a few minutes. We just need to make sure the Discord is all set up and everyone knows we're here, et cetera, et cetera. So just give me a moment. And as I let the music play, Tablet Kitten, please tell me if it's too loud, the background music. I don't know if you can, if you're on the stream as well, but just want to double check. Okay. Okay, yeah, okay. And I see AX23W4 has added. Yep, I'll just say sorry for delay. We are live now. Okay, fantastic. And I'm gonna open up the stream on my end, just so I can see the stream also happening. And so that I know that, and it'll help me answer some of the questions that may be coming up as well. Okay, yeah, I can see myself and we're all good. Okay, so let's just take a quick chat on the Discord and make sure that crew knows what's going on. We're such a wild night. Okay, which thing? And then I'm on general. And then we are live. Tablet Kitten and I are live now at 7 pence stream ping. Why didn't it? Oh, there it goes. Mihao just joined us. Okay, so, oh, for some reason I thought I heard his voice. So that's why I got doubly confused. Mihao is a good policeman. He knows to always make sure I'm doing the right thing for the stream. Okay. So let me project something. If I can remember how to do this task. It's just some slides. I prepared some slides and we have some content. Whew. Let's see. There's that slide. I've got to cut down the number of computers involved in my hardware setups. It's crazy. Okay, let me just close this. Okay, that didn't do anything. Hello, Mihao. It's always good to have Mihao here. What do I need to do here? Okay, let's delete this slide. And I will just show the demo. Well, that didn't work very well, did it? Let's try that again. Again, it goes back to me not always knowing how to use, there we go. So, everyone, I hope you enjoy my bad renderings of some frogs. But yeah, this is a stream we have planned, Tablet Kitten and I, on what we called the Drawing Tablet Iceberg. Now we got started with this, gosh, I think I drew the first version of this back in like November 2023, and then many people gave their feedback and it evolved and it sat for a long time because, to do these streams, sorry, let me just back up. There's a lot of detail there. A lot of things that even I was learning, and I didn't feel confident in having a stream. I had doing even a video on it until more recently when more people are involved in the Discord and we're learning more about some of the details here. And this stream, we're going to show you the iceberg, but we won't be able to cover everything for sure because we need some other people, etc. But we're going to cover a lot of it, maybe half of it, and there's a lot to cover. And feel free to ask questions because we're getting into some sometimes esoteric topics. Okay, so and so I try to think that this picture that I created here summarizes my own feeling about the journey I took in learning about drawing tablets when I started this channel in January 2022. You know, I thought I knew a lot about drawing tablets. It turns out I really don't know much about drawing tablets. We have Mir has joined us. Thank you, Mir. We interrupted his shower apparently. And then I thought I knew a lot. And then, you know, I started meeting people like Cube, et cetera, and many other people, largely from the OSU community. And just the level of knowledge they have just really just blew my mind away. And from my end, I brought some of the, how can I say this? Like artistic end, right? And we'll talk about their end of the world, which is OSU oriented. Maybe we'll actually play OSU. I think Tablet Kitten is an OSU player. Maybe we can see a little demo there.
Yeah, I used to play OSU. Well, I don't really do that, like play much these days, but I've been playing since like what 2018. So it's been forever.
So you must be pretty good just by the nature of.
Not really.
No.
I'm still a 5-digit.
Is that, you have to tell me what 5-digit means.
Oh, so it's like just in ranking. So I'm only rank 25k in the world. So it's like not the best, but
pretty high up there still.
Compared to the world, yes, but
yeah, because there's a lot of people that play 5-digit.
Yeah,
but
lots of.
We'll talk about OSU in detail actually, but it's great. Looks like Mir also plays OSU.
Yep.
And if I can,
lots of people do. Pretty big.
If I can, I think I actually have OSU installed on one of the computers, and you'll see how I play OSU, which is going to be a real delight. Or it'd be easier to talk about how many seconds I last. But anyway, I met these people, and the one thing I discovered is I didn't know anything about drawing tablets. Okay, and you know, I started off like the peepo in the upper left riding the goose with his tablet. He's happy because he's kind of ignorant about, you know, he's at the top of the iceberg, doesn't really know what's going on. But then as you learn more about drawing tablets, your candy-coated illusions about the world are shattered, and you start getting very paranoid, and you start getting very angry and disappointed as you discover the reality of what's going on. And I think the bottom left peepo represents me. You know, he's holding up a sign that says, "Pressure levels aren't real." Okay? And that's kind of like my mental journey. Like I came from a position of ignorance and happiness to sort of paranoia and stress. Okay? And let's just take a quick look at the comments. You should check their attendance.
Kind of like me as well, starting off with like a Helion H420, which is like basically the rock bottom tier of like OSU tablets, right?
Yeah.
It's got the active EMR pen with the battery in there.
Yeah.
And it also had like a whole load of smoothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, I started, I bought a Galman S620, I think in 2020. And then after that, I got myself a CTH 470, which is what I still use right now, which has absolutely no smoothing. It's great. Yeah. But, you know, I also had like another Galman S620, and I also had a PTZ 930 as well, so the Intuos 3, and then, you know, the PTH 660, so the 2017 Intuos Pro Medium, and then whole lot of stuff.
And it's good that we have people who, you know, I think you and Cube are great examples who are able to bridge the gap, right? And it's honestly, I'll say, I don't think I've actually said this very often, but I just want to make sure I'm explicit about it. It's people like you and Cube who have bridged this gap, who have brought your technical expertise and a totally new scenario, the OSU scenario, which I didn't even know OSU existed. So it was a shock to me. I never thought people played games. And you brought also, the audience doesn't fully know, but you two are, you're both technically very knowledgeable. You know both much more about hardware than I do, right? For example. And it's only through the work of the OSU community and the people that play OSU that I was able to learn more. So I owe a real debt of gratitude to that community. Everyone, I just want to make sure you know who's actually talking on the stream that who's not on, because I haven't mentioned it so clearly. So Tablet Kitten, you may have seen in the chat on previous streams, but certainly she's been super important in helping the community here survive and keeping us knowledgeable about, especially the market in China. And Tablet Kitten, you want to just take a moment to introduce yourself?
Hey, yeah, I play OSU. I sometimes draw. I don't really do much drawing these days or play OSU because, I'm kind of busy sometimes with work and also other things. But yeah, I'm usually on the server, like the Drawing Tablet server, and also on Cube server, chatting about things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess most of the time when it comes from like all the information that I get usually comes from Chinese sites, Bilibili, and also Chinese sites, like Chinese local sites for like the big tablet companies.
Mm-hmm.
I also have a few tablets just myself, and yeah. Sometimes I look at testing things, although not really these days anymore. And also, I kind of learn a bit about the technical side of things because electronics sort of interests me, but like I am like nowhere near like the level of like an actual electrical engineer. It's more like a hobby thing more than anything. But yeah.
And is there, this is no dox. This is not a doxing question, but could you tell people what is your superpower?
My superpower?
Yeah, what is your superpower?
I don't know. Probably mashing 300 BPM streams. And failing as well at the same time. It's an OSU thing.
OSU, okay, we'll get to OSU. Trust me.
Yeah.
We'll get to OSU in the stream. Okay, so everyone, I just want you to be introduced to Tablet Kitten. And we'll try to get Tablet Expert Cube on here in a future stream, right? It's a little bit late for him. I think it's 2 a.m. his time. For me, it's just 11 p.m. And what time is it for you in Australia, Tablet Kitten?
4 p.m.
4 p.m. Okay, so you're living good. And I'm totally okay with late streams. But okay, so I've introduced Tablet Kitten, and then let's just do a little intro to some of the topics. So you all probably have seen Icebergs Explained, and they sort of proceed through this kind of format where you start. This is one of the more long ones, and the characters just get progressively more jaded, and sort of plunging into the depths until finally they've unraveling the dark horror of the universe they're now in until they're finally enlightened, and that's what this template is trying to communicate. And let's see, near 300 BPM, something I can't do with my two fingers. It's throwing stuff, the microwave, and surviving.
Like 300 BPM is basically around 20 taps per second with your two fingers.
That's possible, even.
Yes, that is definitely possible.
Did not know that. So this is a blank template for an iceberg, and I saw people make these icebergs. I didn't realize at the time people were making long videos going into icebergs, and this is the version of the iceberg I put together in November 2023. So a lot has evolved. Some things I added, some things I removed. Some things here we'll cover, some things we won't. Some things we need, for example, Cube to talk about because he's much more familiar with them. But I think we'll get about half of these things. And we have a lot to talk about and a lot to show you. Okay, so I have another deck prepared, and some of these topics we'll dive into. And what I'd just like you to do is comment and share with us any questions you have, any of your own experiences. Let's just keep this a very exciting stream. Okay, and so what I did, I broke apart each level, okay? And Tablet Kitten, feel free to interrupt at any time. Level 1 is the Happy People level. this is the level at which most people talk about drawing tablets. If you watch a lot of drawing tablet videos on YouTube, they really are in this place. And I was in this place for like 27 years, okay? And this place is a very surface level place, right? And you see it begins with feels nice to draw with, because that's really about as objective a statement as many people could make, myself as well. We know things, in this level you know things about tablets because they're conveyed to you by the manufacturer. What do you know? Pressure levels, tilt, lines per inch, 1580 or 5080, initial activation force you might have heard about. Some reviewers started talking about that. But level 1 is basically the happy zone. And it really represents what most people talk about. And one of the reasons I have feels nice to draw with is, unless you dive deeper, that's about all you can say, right? You can just say you liked it or you didn't, right? There isn't a lot of objective things to measure, and that's one of the things I wanted to bring when I started this channel, is to start measuring some of these things, okay?
Yeah, so the deal with level 1 really is there's really nothing objective about it, right? Feels nice to draw with is a very subjective kind of thing. Pressure levels, well, can you really measure that? Well, yes, through numbers, but are those numbers really going to make much of a difference? No. Tilt, well, it's just something that is being advertised, you know, most tablets these days, especially from Hanwon Yuji and also Huion. So, you know, Hanwon Yuji is just XP Pen, Sense Labs, and also the Yuji brand. So they advertise tilt, 5080 LPI, maybe 16K pressure levels, and also this is sort of a new thing with the Chinese companies, is that they started like advertising initial activation force. Back in the day, they really didn't do that, but nowadays with Pentec 4.0, the X3 series of pens, they really started like ramping up the like sort of making initial activation force more known.
Yes, yes. And you know, you hit upon something that and by the way, I was not responsible for this. I may have been responsible for some other things, but how can I say it? When you're selling products like cars or anything that's kind of technical, people will want specs, right? And sometimes manufacturers want to share specs with you that are kind of not, I mean, they might be interesting for them, but they sometimes ignore specs we need to know. And initial activation force is a great example of something they started doing, as Tablet Kitten said, where you need to know this because it actually materially affects how it will feel to draw. And it's one of the great things about initial activation force is it can be, you can actually measure it. Like it's perceivable by you with your own hands, and you can get a scale and see the effect, right? So I really love that tablet manufacturers started talking about it, putting it on the box, so to speak. It's a valuable thing because it really does affect the experience, right? Let's just see. Mirrored has I think most people just look at the status provided by the brand of a specific tablet, the specs. I agree, Mir, and we want them to, we think that's good. I think, I would like them, I'm sure Tablet Kitten will say something similar. We just like them to be even more clear about certain things, right?
Yeah, definitely. I feel rather than just putting arbitrary numbers like, you know, it has pressure levels and has really good resolution or even like reports per second, right? They really need more meaningful things like, you know, what's the max pressure that a pen's gonna have, and also maybe they can show like a default curve for the pen, like pressure curve for the pen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
From like the hardware side, that would be like great additions.
Yeah.
That, you know, it gives much more of an informed choice when you're buying it.
Yes, and you know, I think it has another virtuous outcome, Tablet Kitten, which is that manufacturers want to compete, right? Like now they are kind of competing on initial activation force. I want them to compete on max pressure, right? I want them to compete on all sorts of things, right?
Yeah.
We just need them to start paying attention. We need people to start demanding numbers, right? Let's see. A brand new feeling for creativity, Mir says. Mir, where is he? It sounds like a slogan. Where are you getting that from?
No idea. I've never heard that anyway. I think
Not just an
they're
upgrade.
just making it up. But
A new feeling. This sounds like
it's pretty cool.
This sounds like a Wacom marketing comments.
You know, great workflow.
Right? Yeah. Hey, look, I'm all for things like this. You have to remember, I spent a lot of my time at Microsoft trying to convey, in human terms, some rather esoteric code things, right? And so there really is an art to being able to, quote, sell something. And when I say sell here, I don't mean literally market. I mean, like, how do you explain value, right? And sometimes, you also have to communicate in statements like this. Ahmed Slayer said, first tablet I ever purchased was a Wacom Cintiq Pro 27. What a way to start. $3,500 tablet. Wow. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Never look back.
I mean, there's not really a reason to look back when you're literally at the very top of.
That's right. You got the best of the best.
Yeah.
Right. But I will say this: I have that tablet. It is amazing. Because it is very easy in our world to think that things that are more expensive or bigger are better. That is not true with tablets. I will just say that. So for those of you who have this like a 16-inch tablet and you're thinking 27 inches is better, it might be. It really depends on how your body works and what you like to do, right? For some people, 27 is ideal, but for some people, myself, I prefer 22 for a pen display. Let's see. Oops, lost my window here. 1 second. Mir says, I saw that from different brands. They say all those, but I ended up finding them worse tablets. Yeah, I think that's just, you have to see how people are measuring tablets to find out if they're really good. You have to see what people are complaining about when they get the tablets, It's not an easy choice. That's why I say, okay, I'll tell sorry, I know I'm distracting people here. I just want to take an aside and talk about buying a tablet. And I would say, you all know I spend a lot of money on tablets. I mean, I never hid that. I spend about $10,000 a year on tablets. And that hasn't slowed down since I retired last year. Don't rely on manufacturers. Go and watch people who are really evaluating tablets. Brad Cobol's good at this. Tio on Tech's really good at this. Occasionally I say something, and watch for long-term reviews and watch what people complain about on Reddit or what they like, right? And formulate an opinion. And I would say never buy a tablet without having, wait some time before you buy any tablet. There's nothing as bad as feeling as buying something that you have invest a lot of hope into, and it just doesn't deliver on what you hope for. Tablet Kitten, do you have any thoughts about just buying a tablet for people?
Usually, I don't really look at buying tablets because there's so many variables that you really need to account for. I only really care too much, a lot about the OSU side of things.
Yeah.
And maybe really pen tablets and not really displays. I'm not really a display person.
Got it. That makes sense. And the tablets for OSU are the ones that are recommended are a very small set, as I understand it. Right.
Yeah, it is a very small set. Basically, there's only 2 tablets that you can realistically recommend for a new purchase, right?
Yeah.
So that's the one by Wacom, so the CTL4 and also 672, depending on size, and also the newest Pro, IntelOS Pro, because higher report rate, I guess.
Oh, that's right. I
But
forgot
it's
to
not
increase the report rate. I forgot about that.
It's not worth it though. It
It's
is
not worth it,
really
yeah,
not
yeah.
worth it. But if
Yeah.
you want the absolute best of the best tablet for OSU, there you go.
Yeah.
Not recommended though. Not really recommended.
Let's see. Aim Slayer says, oh yeah, for sure, 4K and 27 screen isn't really getting full use of 4K. Would have been fine with smaller tablet resolution. Yeah. Mir, Tio did many tablet reviews, even Android tablets as well. Yeah, I love Tio's channel. I will say this. One thing I really appreciate about TO, two things, maybe three things. Okay, number one, he's structured. He's super structured, right? You watch his videos. He begins with, here's all the things I looked at. There's a list of things he looked at and the timestamps, and he says, bottom line, I liked it, didn't, whatever. Then he goes into great detail. Number two, he's testing. He's measuring things, right? He's probably the first person that got me thinking about, hey, I like where this is going. Let's see how far we can start measuring things, right? And number three, he's just prolific. He just looks at a lot of tablets. He has a lot of experience with them. So I think, I would easily say, because I don't really consider myself a reviewer. I'm just kind of thinking about these tablets. He's the person if I was any normal person, I wouldn't buy a tablet unless TO felt good about it, honestly. I think that's how good I feel about his reviews. Actually, one day I'd like to interview TO. Maybe I'll ask him after the stream.
With TO, I think he's great. For a normal tablet review, it is basically as good as you can really get.
Yeah.
Unless you want to dive into the really specific things that you no one should really look at.
That's right. Because I would say the stuff I do is sometimes kind of it's really geared for a certain kind of personality, right? I'm not sure a normal person would enjoy my videos.
Absolutely. I'm also kind of the same way, right? The stuff I look at is just way too niche.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a look at a few comments. Mir says, I bought a Xiaomi Pad 5 as it was only $200. That's a pretty good price. Mihao says 4K 27 is amazing. Yeah, it's a good combo, I think. 4K at 16 to me is a little bit of a waste. 4K 22 is probably where it shines. Aim Slayer, you can't really tell that difference between 2K. Actually, Aim Slayer, I feel I just want to comment on this. For me, and it's dependent on the person's eyes, I think 2K, I think you mean 256 by 1440. I totally agree with you. I totally agree. I have used a 22-inch display from XP Pen that has that resolution, and I cannot tell the difference. If I try to look at a nitpick, yeah, but to me, it's totally fine. But some people definitely prefer 4K, and they see it and they feel the impact. Okay, I think we got enough with level 1. Let's get to level 2. So level 2, you notice the character is now just the smile is a little less robust, and the person's kind of wide-eyed at the discoveries here. And this is where we get into some topics like, these are the realities you start to experience, right? And things are starting to get more complicated and you're starting to get problems. And so a great one, and I have extra slides here to talk about this, is EMR, just learning what EMR is. It's kind of a curiosity because you hear it all the time, but it's an interesting technology. It's not something they clearly explain. Another thing you start discovering, especially with pen displays, is their tracking accuracy, which means if you hold the pen still, is the tip of the mouse pointer directly underneath the tip. And you'll see actually slight deviations for all sorts of reasons. I'll show you one in a second, and we'll talk about it. And let me actually bring it up for a second. Let's see, where am I? I gotta find my others. It's my legend slide. Yeah, let's talk about EMR first. Which is, so it's actually one of the first videos I made, a very long video, it's about 24 minutes on how EMR works in drawing tablets. Now, I'll be honest with you, the sound isn't as good as I would have hoped. I learned a lot since this video, and the graphics are pretty primitive, but, and certainly it's, it covers a very specific EMR implementation, I'll say that. But I think it teaches you the basics. And once you understand this, you can understand many other things, okay? So do check it out. But I will say that it is certainly, it's the first time I realized the magic of EMR, okay? So I talked about, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. EMR is, well, it is really complicated actually. And we've actually learned a lot of actually how EMR works because of Project Patchly. We'll go through that later on.
Yes.
Yeah, and you know, the actual like circuits on, and also like the way EMR is actually interpreted, and also the algorithms that you know, tablets actually use to actually get the location, figure out pressure, all that stuff. That's all in Patchly's source code.
Yeah, and we'll definitely take a look at it. Okay, and I am, and yeah, let's wait for that. There's a lot to say about it, and but to keep it short, it's the most information we have ever learned about drawing tablets, thanks to Project Patchouli. I'll say that. Another topic I wanted to get into is that accuracy, and this is something that Wacom used to list back in the 90s, but did not list anymore. But here's an example from Huion, where they talk about the accuracy, which is the deviation between the pointer and the actual physical tip of the pen. And they say, for example, in the middle of the screen, you'll see there's a deviation about plus or minus 0.3 millimeters, the center, and then 10 times that, 3 millimeters in the corner. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about this and to give you a sense of what I found based on published numbers, right? Because this is very hard to measure, or at least I'm too lazy to measure it. These are, now just because I run a different Huion and XP Pen tablets, and these are the numbers I saw. Basically, I saw a lot of plus minus 0.5 millimeter in the center, plus or minus 0.3 millimeter in the center. And then in the corners or in the edges, there was a lot more inaccuracy. It went from 1 millimeter to 3 millimeters, right? And I want to talk about why we see this kind of inaccuracy. So it's easy, this happens with pen tablets, but it's good to just take a look at a pen display for a second. It'll make much more sense to you visually. So there's a screen, that's the blue area of this pen display, okay? Now you know that, I said there's some inaccuracy. So we already mentioned there's some corner and center accuracy, right? Now it's not like it gets progressively worse as you get to the edge. It's actually very accurate throughout 99.9% of the screen. It's only that last few millimeters you start to see any kind of deviation, close to the edge or especially the corner. So even the most the pen display that's the most inaccurate at the edges is really okay in the middle, and that's a big area. So I just want to make sure that was clear. And just to explain why we see the inaccuracy, there's a digitizer underneath the screen, right? And you can see though, when we get to the edge of the digitizer, there's less of the digitizer underneath the pen. So it just gives less data, less signal for the digitizer to understand where the pen is. And of course the situation is really much worse at the corners because now there's even less digitizer underneath the tip of the pen. So how do manufacturers deal with this problem? Is they actually they make the digitizers bigger than the actual screen, so that it gives some extra room to be accurate, right? But this helps you understand why they're a little more inaccurate on the edges and especially the corners, right? I hope that made sense. Tablet Kitten, any comments on accuracy here?
Not really, but basically the further you go out, and especially on the very edges, you just run out of digitizer.
Yeah.
Once you run out of digitizer, it just goes all whack. So
yeah,
simple as that, really.
And you'll see things like the tip of the pen or the pointer will be, what's the right word here? It'll be magnetically, sort of speak, attracted to the edge or repulsed, or just incorrect or shaky in some way. Lots of different effects near the edge and corners.
That's just inductors doing their thing because they use electromagnetic fields, right? So
yes,
obviously there's going to be some odd interferences. Maybe not. Don't know. Might just happen.
Yeah. So Mir asked a question. Wait, it happens. Mir, I think you're talking about the accuracy topic. And the answer is, yeah, it does happen with non-pen displays as well. However, what's the right word here? In non-pen displays, in screenless tablets, the issue is a little mitigated. First, because there's no screen. the screen itself causes some interference, okay? But yeah, it does happen in non-pen displays. I am working on providing a test that shows you it in practice. I don't think the test is very hard. I think it just relies on drawing some diagonal lines and some straight lines near that area. And I didn't invent this. I saw this in a review that David Ravoy, who's I think big in the Krita community, he was doing it. So I'm going to start adding it to my tablet notes, right? Because it's good to see that pen tablets also have a little bit of slight inaccuracy, though people tend not to notice it because people really don't draw on the edge. Because what's on the edge are scroll bars and things like that. People just don't get there when they're drawing. Okay, in my notes for, what did I have left? I think I'll skip tablet mode on pen displays. I did want to talk about anti-glare sparkle. So anti-glare sparkle is, sorry, I've got multiple mice here. This is another thing that starts making me paranoid, right? Because you see what actually happens. So on the, what are we seeing here? On the left is actually an iPad. And if you look closely, you might be able to see a little bit of like rainbowness, right? Some kind of weird coloration there. This is supposed to be a black and white image. And on the right is a Huion Canvas Pro 16 plus 4K. It has a lot of anti-glare sparkle. Now, this is subject to a lot of like how the camera works and everything, but everyone I think would fairly see that anti-glare sparkle is a thing on pen displays. And not all pen displays have them. They're not associated with a specific brand. And, but one thing is true, some people are very sensitive to it, some more than others. This is something that I wish more reviewers, they're starting to now, they're starting to talk about anti-glare sparkle and mention it. And some people have actually asked me, how come no one shows photos of it? It is very hard to photograph. I'll show you a little bit of that in just a second. Another thing is people don't know when they're asking for help on this topic, they don't know what to call it. Anti-glare sparkle is a technical name from a research paper I found, but these are the words people actually use to describe it. A lot of people think it looks grainy, like film grain, or noisy. People say it looks greasy or wet sometimes, right? Here's an example. This is the same exact tablet, it's the same camera with the same settings, but just depending on where the camera is further back, it may look much more colorful or much more like just black and white noise, right? Or here's another example. Depending on how the camera is focused, it can look really sharp or again, very kind of soft grains. So it's hard to get a consistent picture, and some photos just don't show it at all, right? It also depends on how zoomed in you are. On the left, it actually looks like normal RGB elements. You don't see the sparkle very much or very clearly. So I have done for some tablets a kind of sparkle evaluation. And this is something I wish we as people who are tablet enthusiasts could provide everyone a list like, well, this tablet scores a plus 5 stars on anti-glare sparkle. It's just not possible yet because there is no objective way for me to say to people like Brad or Tio, do this and come up with a number, right? Someone has come up with a way of measuring it, but like that was in that research paper. I don't think a normal person like me would be able to do that measurement. I'll have to research that. Tablet Kitten, any thoughts about sparkle?
I mean, it really makes sense because LCDs, they have red, green, blue pixels, right? Mm-hmm. So it makes sense why the anti-glare sparkle would exist because, well, a matte screen has all those bumps and ridges and everything. So
yeah,
that's where it, I guess, comes from. Don't quote me on that though. Still, that's just kind of
it exactly comes from that. Yeah, because the anti-glare layer, whether it be in a film or the etched glass, so there's red, green, blue light, streams of light coming up. They just get pushed around.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it does the same thing to the other way as well. And also, the higher res I think the screen is, the more anti-glare sparkle you're gonna get. I remember something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, like, there's several factors there's several factors that tell you how much you're going to get. One is the resolution, points per inch, pixels per inch, right? And then the other thing is the specific treatment that's used, right? For example, Wacom tablets, even small, like 16-inch Wacom tablet with 4K resolution, the Wacom Cintiq Pro 16, has virtually no anti-glare sparkle, right? But the Huion Canvas Pro 16 plus 4K has a lot of anti-glare sparkle, right?
Yeah.
So it depends on the specific treatment that was used.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. So I want to talk about, here's another thing that comes up, a complication, which is brush lag and pointer lag, which took me a while to start thinking about how to communicate to people. But basically, when you move your pen across the screen, it's easy to understand this with the screen. The pointer will follow the physical tip of the pen by a little bit. Then, of course, your application has to draw a stroke. So that brush stroke will actually follow behind where the computer thinks the pen is, right? So, for example, in this example, the physical pen is at A, the computer thinks the pen is at B, and then depending on how long it takes to draw the stroke, the beginning of the stroke is at C, right? And this is, again, this kind of pointer lag or brush lag. These two kinds of lag are something you start noticing as you start using a lot of pen tabs. You realize how much the pointer lag there really is.
Yeah, with a display, you're actually going to notice straight off the bat. But with a pen tablet, there's actually a lot of different factors that actually, change how you actually feel the pointer and also the brush lag, right? Brush lag, if you just have the brush circle following the actual, like the place where the stroke is meant to be drawn, right? That's gonna feel a lot worse than, if you also have the pointer as well. So if you want to feel less lag, but you won't actually get less lag. You'll actually want to enable like a pointer in your drawing program. So Critter has that option, but isn't enabled by default. I don't know about other apps. But
Clip Studio has it as well.
Oh, cool. So if you enable that, you might feel like there's less brush lag because you're more so going to be focusing just on the pointer location instead of where the brush location actually is.
Oh, that's a good point. It's kind of distracting you from...
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Yeah. There's a question here from Mir, which is, do display latency affect this, like 15 milliseconds? And you're talking here about the refresh rate, right?
No, I don't think it's refresh rate. There is nothing that will refresh at like 25 milliseconds, like frame time. That's actually the gray to gray response time.
Response time,
so it's the response time of the monitor, yeah. So how quickly one can, like a pixel can switch to another color or something like that.
Okay, thank you. So this is a great question, and let's address this a little bit. So I did a video on lag, right? And as you go through the system, there are many sources of lag, okay? And I always talk about them. There are different rates involved, like the report rate, all sorts of things, right? Now, in Mir's question, related to the display, what I have seen is this. Let's start with, I know he didn't ask about it, but I'll start there, is refresh rate. So I have the Wacom Cintiq Pro 22 and the 27, and they support 120 hertz refresh rate on the maximum end. So if you use them at 60 and you move your pen around, you'll see some lag, of course, right? Some pointer lag. If you shift it to 120 hertz, you will see less pointer lag. However, it's not a night and day difference. It looks like maybe 15%, maybe 20%, maybe 10%. It's not enough to make a huge difference, though it is slightly better, okay? So that does help. Another thing that does help, which we'll get to a little bit later, is there is some lag caused by position smoothing in the driver. So it's not screen related, but I just want to make sure that's also a possibility. If you switch from the Wacom driver to the Open Tablet driver, you'll get another, let's just say 15% improvement in the pointer lag, right? But even if you do both those things, what I believe is true right now is there is just enough system lag in the way between the different rates and the USB subsystem that like, we'll never be able to get rid of pointer lag, okay? And one more thing is the refresh rate, the response time. In theory, in theory, it should cause some perceptible change, I think, right, Tablet Kitten?
I don't really know. It shouldn't be perceptible though. Like you shouldn't be able to perceive it if it's like that little of a difference.
Fair. But I've never tested this, so I can't speak definitively on it. But yeah, I think it's a little difference. I agree with you.
That kind of response time, like pixel response time, that's mainly to do with motion blur. It's not really like a lag kind of thing.
Got it.
Like it's not really an input lag kind of thing. It's just.
Now I remember, Tablet Kitten, why I thought it will make a difference. Okay. I think when you see, so if you get higher response times, right? It causes ghosting, right?
Yep.
Just
not
seeing
really. It's once you put too much voltage in there.
But I mean, that causes like ghost images to appear, right? Is that correct?
If you have like overdrive or something like that on for an LCD monitor,
So what I was getting at is that ghosting can make it psychologically feel slower too, right? Because
I'm not sure. I've never tested it out. I don't use a gaming monitor, so.
Yeah, I'll try. We'll see.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, so this is pointer lag. Okay, so another topic that comes up is parallax versus registration. Registration is, again, how close the pointer and the pen physically match. So this is a little bit of a weird topic. I just want to make sure people are on the same page about this, because this is a perennial source of confusion. So parallax actually has nothing to do with how accurate your tablet is. Like absolutely nothing. Your tablet can be perfectly accurate, but you can still have a lot of parallax, okay? And before I continue, Tablet Kitten, do you have anything to say about the statement I just made?
I have not tested a thing with, like I haven't done anything with parallax. I really haven't, yeah.
Okay, so let me explain it like this. Sometimes people, they show me pictures all the time or videos where they're keeping their pen still on the tablet, but the pointer's off to the left or right, okay? And you know, lots of people call that parallax, okay? And my statement all the time back is that's not parallax. And this slide is supposed to explain why that is. So I want you to imagine a cross section of a screen where this yellow thing is the digitizer, and then the black here is plastic, and these pixels are all gray, and these are just different colored pixels, okay? Like a rainbow. But the red one is following the tip of the pen exactly, right? And what does this mean? The tip of the pen is hovering over the red pixel, and I mean, that pixel is red. The computer thinks the pen is there, so that's perfectly accurate, right? Everyone agrees? Okay. But if you look at it, because there's this piece of glass, if you follow your eye lines from two different positions, what will these two eyes see? Well, just look at what the eyes do, right? The sight lines of the eyes don't go to the red pixel. That's not because the tablet's inaccurate. It's completely accurate. They will see, this one eye will see a green pixel underneath the, this one here sees the light green pixel underneath the tip of the pen. This other one sees the dark green pixel on the tip of the pen. So parallax is not an inaccuracy. It's a apparent inaccuracy just due to the fact that the tip of the pen is separated by glass or something from the LCD layer, the display panel layer. So I just wanted to straighten that out because I see this term miscommunicated a lot, right? Parallax is an apparent inaccuracy, has nothing to do with the accuracy of the digitizer. Digitizers can be inaccurate, but that's another effect. Okay. Diagonal wobble is another thing that comes up in this second layer. You start to notice that it's highly variable in different tablets, and this is an example of something I compared in the Wacom Intuos Pro 2025. And basically, as you start drawing it, I show it with lines, but it actually happens at any movement diagonal, even if you're curving the line. There's a slight wave pattern, and it just has to deal with the digitizer. And I think our theories are still that there's something about smoothing that's causing it, but I don't think we've tested this out.
I have tried sort of testing out how diagonal wobble is meant to, like, how diagonal wobble works, but I haven't really figured anything out, honestly. It is a very weird topic, because it's not chatter, because, you can eliminate chatter, although there could be some variation with chatter, but that shouldn't be creating the wobble. So...
That's right. Chatter should be doing this kind of wobble, right?
Like, chatter should be doing like a really random-ish sort of wobble.
Yes.
Not a wobble on that scale.
Yeah, exactly. And you point out it should be more random. So I will try to, whenever I look at a tablet, I measure it. And most tablets are getting pretty good these days, to be honest. And most of the time, you can set like position smoothing, stabilization to account for it. But some tablets, it's strong, and it's strong when you're going fast. And that's when you're going fast is the problem, because smoothing really won't fix that, right? So that's something.
What you actually want in terms of smoothing is actually radial smoothing. EMA smoothing won't really work. So they're the two different types. So, in Critter, I think it's the stabilizer option that you get like pulled string and also radial.
Yeah.
Types of smoothing. Those are the ones that you want.
So radial is pulled string?
Radial is like a different sort of pulled string where it's like, it accelerates and decelerates, while pulled string just has like a dead zone.
Okay, I'll try it. My difficulty with pulled string is it doesn't feel like normal drawing, right?
Yeah.
It's weird to me. I've occasionally do it, but I have trouble consistently ending the stroke.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it's the only way that I know that you can actually like get rid of diagonal wobble.
Yes. So another thing that comes up in this layer is you start realizing that EMR is not the only pen technology out there. And so EMR, electromagnetic resonance, of course, was pioneered by Wacom, and their patents have expired now for, I think, 15 years. But there are actually other technologies out there that are not based on EMR. They work quite differently. And there are three popular ones right now. There are actually more. AES, which is invented by Wacom, Active Electrostatic, Microsoft Pen Protocol, and Apple Pencil Protocol. And actually, MPP and APP, I think, are all very, very similar to AES, right? But the reason,
I think so.
Yeah, I think they're all capacitive, right? And I think I've never really talked about it. I will just say this: no drawing tablets, no normal ones, use AES, MPP, or Apple Pencil Protocol. All of them use EMR. And my feeling is this: and I've tried AES and Apple, and I've tried all of these. EMR produces, I think, still the best drawing experience. AES,
far, actually.
Yeah.
By far.
Now, I notice it in terms of diagonal wobble a lot, Tablet Kitten.
Yeah.
And so Apple Pencil probably does the best of the non-EMR tablets. But they have a lot of diagonal wobble in some cases, right?
Apple Pencil's got an interesting thing where they've got a lot of like post-processing, I guess, or like processing to the actual pen input.
Yeah.
So there's actually quite a bit of lag, but they
Yes.
use prediction and all that.
Yes.
Same thing with MPP, and I don't know about AES. So yeah. Oh yeah, you also forgot. There's also USI as well. So Universal Stylus.
Oh yeah, let me just add it.
Initiative.
Let me just add it.
Yeah. So that's on Chromebooks and like Android tablets. If you want to check that out.
Universal Stylus Initiative.
I think that's the name.
So I since I've seen the name, but I never could figure out if Universal Stylus Initiative was a group or a technology or both.
It's a consortium of like a whole load of different companies, I think.
Okay. But But it's also a tech. It's like certain implementation.
Yes.
Okay.
It's like it's both, I guess you could say.
Okay.
So they have the tech, and they also have, the actual consortium of companies.
Okay. And next we have. Let me put this.
Oh yeah, and
Level-
also USI is an open standard, apparently.
Yes, that's right. Though I haven't heard anything from them in many years now. I think they're done. At least as far as I can tell.
2022 was when they released version 2, and I have no idea what they're doing nowadays.
So now we're at level 3. Now notice the person is now starting to get unhappy. Okay, or maybe the pleasure of being with a drawing tablet is starting to be hit with some real hard realities, right? And so this is where we're going to start seeing curious and weird things happen. Some of which are thrilling, some of which are scary, right? But they're just very different from what we're used to. I'll skip position smoothing because it's kind of just boring. But that is just, there's noise, there's chatter as the pen is moving or still. And so that has to be compensated for with position smoothing. So you start discovering, I guess I am talking about this topic, that pen tablets they lag more because they have to compensate for that chatter. And that noise. And so that's what's causing that lag, okay? And Mir has noticed the 727 number. Pressure range, and I think I have a specific slide on these topics. Let's see, hang on one second. Yeah. Oops, why am I not moving to the next slide?
PowerPoint doing its thing.
Okay, here we go. So these days now, you'll see things like IAF and max pressure and pressure levels, which is great. Pressure range is that difference between the max pressure and the IAF, right? So you can think of it like this, right? Obviously, a pen doesn't show any numbers under the initial activation force. Here it's 3 cram force. So you want, and the max pressure is at 500. Now, what we have seen with pens is they're getting higher and higher, generally speaking. Now, I think if your pen has a maximum pressure of around 400 to 500 gram force, your pen's fine. Above that is fantastic. Wacom Pro pens get to be 700 gram force. Pro pens, 800 gram force sometimes, right? So you've got to understand that this is something why Tablet Kitten and I want tablet manufacturers to start talking about maximum pressure. So far, I only know of 2 cases where maximum pressure is talked about. One is for the XP Pen X3 Pro pen. XP Pen has a diagram showing its maximum pressure at about 400 gram force. At least that's what they claim. And then
yeah, that's really what they claim, but it's all over the place actually.
Yeah, there's a lot of variance there. And then Sense Labs talks about their pens at I believe 500 gram force. And I don't have enough of their pens to test. Now Huiyon's interesting. Huiyon doesn't mention it, but for a non-Wacom pen, the PW600 Huiyon pens have amazing max pressure, like 500 gram force, right? And it's a shame because like they should be talking about it because it's good. And what high maximum pressure lets you mean is, what's good about it is, as you're drawing, and if it has low maximum pressure, have you ever had that thing when you're drawing and then like your stroke just balloons out all of a sudden? That's because you hit the upper end of maximum pressure. And so if it's low, it's too easy to hit. But when it requires more force, then you can control your pressure more. Now, of course, there's a certain upper bound where it doesn't make sense. So if your pen ever got to 2,000 gram force for max pressure, it would be a scary amount of force to press down with. And I can tell you this from firsthand knowledge because sometimes you'll find a defective pen. I have one that requires 3,500 gram force max pressure. So pressing down on it makes me think I'm going to break the tablet or the pen. So that's a defective pen. 500 to 700, you're perfect, right?
Just so you know, it's actually okay to press at least like 5 kilos on a pen. Like, I've done very dumb things.
What?
And it's totally fine. It is totally fine to do that. It will not break the pen. Or at least on every single pen I've tested, which is like 5-6 different pens.
Wow. Wow.
Don't do it, but I've done it. You can do it if you want. Should you do it? No.
No. Okay. Let's see. We have another comment from Ahmet Rashid. I have both M4 iPad Pro with Apple Pencil and Galaxy Tab S10 Ultra with Wacom EMR. The accuracy on both seem the same to me, and I work with very fine line work. Okay, so I'm glad you brought this up. I think for very fine line work, they both work great. I do think
they do.
And where I find the Apple Pencil, at least the Apple Pencil 2nd generation and the Apple Pencil Pro, to be better, they have, in the ones I've measured, they seem to have very high maximum pressure of like 500 gram force, right? I do think they also have lower initial activation force, but I haven't been able to measure it. But I think they're very comparable. I'm happy with the drawing experience with the S Pen on a Samsung device. And later in the video, we'll talk about why I just said on a Samsung device. Oh, okay, Wacom product naming. I actually covered this in a video not too long ago, but you know I love Wacom. I inhaling Wacopium all day. But they do some strange things. They do some real strange things. And I particularly I'm very picky about what they do in the topic of naming, because I've participated in naming things that were very big at Microsoft and very, worldwide. So I have a perspective on naming, and, they have just made some strange choices. And I just want to talk about some of the strange choices. So I want you to imagine Tesla made a product called Cybertruck, okay? But then the next day they introduced a product called Cybertruck by Tesla, which is just visually here, a completely different kind of truck meant for a completely different kind of purpose. The question to ask is, do you think some people would be confused? Do you think it would cause any confusion at all to have models named Cybertruck, Tesla Cybertruck, and Cybertruck by Tesla? And the answer is yes, of course, right? Like, the naming wouldn't tell you which one's better. You might see that people, if they cost different prices, you might see some people see the one, but they think the other one costs that number, right? So they mix up the costs, right? They might order the wrong one. And you would think it would be insane for someone to name a product, Tesla Cybertruck and Cybertruck by Tesla. However, Wacom has done this. They have tablets called Wacom One and then One by Wacom. And it's crazy. It's crazy to have names like this that they both have the brand name, and they both have the word one in them in different positions, right? It's just strange, right? And you're not even supposed to call the Wacom One. Like, if you'd said Wacom Intuos, what's the name of the tablet? Intuos. But what is the name of the Wacom One tablet? It isn't One. It's Wacom One, which means it's the Wacom One, if that makes any sense, right? And what is the other tablet? Wacom Intuos, Wacom One by Wacom, which is another strange formulation. So it's just very confusing all around. And just to show you how confusing it is, there are, 5, 6, 7 tablets that share some variation of this name. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, okay?
Yeah.
And look at this. the only way you can figure out which one you're getting is to look at the model number. So, you know, I know I pick on Wacom, but like they really got to straighten their names out.
Yeah. Also, you actually forgot about the old one by Wacom. So that's actually the CTL 671.
671.
Yeah, that was also called the one by Wacom. I actually
No, I didn't even know it existed.
Oh yeah, so the 471 and then the 671, those were called, I think, the Bamboo Splash for the small one. I'm not too sure if that's the correct name. There's like so many different bamboos, I just stopped keeping track of it. And then there's the 671, which was called the one by Wacom. So it's actually exclusive, I think, to just the medium version.
Wow, I had no clue.
So it was just
no
absolutely terrible naming that you just have to know. You just have to know it. That's it.
Okay.
It's terrible.
We have a comment on the naming. Let's see. Simon Bauer says, "Oh yes, the naming scheme, especially the bamboo line of pens for the." Oh yeah, I forgot about.
Oh
those
yeah,
pens.
let's not talk about bamboo. There was a certain consumer tablet lineup called Bamboo. They changed that to the one by Wacom now because, you know, the 471 and the 671, those are the, you know, transition period from bamboo to bamboo.
So let me understand.
One by
Bamboo became one by Wacom. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. In my opinion, Bamboo became one by Wacom, but you know, there's always, you know, there's other interpretations as well.
Let's see. Mir mentioned CTH 680 being a bigger version of CTL 480. I am not familiar with those two models actually.
That's the 2013 Intuos, and also there does exist a CTL 680.
CTL 680.
Yes. Aren't we going through that later?
I think it's on the list, but I didn't have enough information. But yeah, let's definitely make sure we talk about it. And
I think there was something. Let me
And
check
me-
in Cube server.
And Mihao, you're right. The new naming for this 4XX, 6XX, 8XX is very consistent. I do like it. I do like it. And then Mir asked a good question. I wonder why they call it CTH and not CTL. Like the L and the H should have some meaning, though I don't know what it is. And let's see, we're getting some messages.
That's from me.
Okay, got it.
Stuff over for later.
Thank you. Let's see. Mihao mentions it's always 4XX for small, 6 for medium, and 8 for large. Yeah, I think that's wonderful. The Wacom naming convention for the Pro tablets is excellent and easy to understand. For the consumer tablets like the CTL 41, actually this slide is the one wrong. I have this.
Let's just not even talk about the consumer lineup. It is god awful.
Yeah.
Because we've got the 4100, the 4110, which is technically, it does make sense that it's like the 4110 because the one preceding the 4100 was the 490. Before that was the 480, and then before that there was no such thing as a consumer Intuos.
You know what I want to do, Tablet Kitten, is have you seen those like genealogies of like programming languages?
No.
But you get the idea, right? It's like it says that, like, you know, from, I don't know, from B we got C, and then we got C sharp, which is influenced by Fortran, you know.
Yeah.
I want to kind of do that for Wacom tablets, right?
That might be a pretty hard thing to do.
And by the way, I just want to do it for selfish reasons, because I myself, my life with Wacom has been very centered around their Pro line, right?
Yeah.
So, except for the one by Wacoms and the Wacom ones, I am very confused about the Bamboos and all the different versions. Like, I just don't totally get their vibe.
Okay.
Right.
So the Graphire's Bamboos.
Graphire. I totally forgot about Graphire.
I'm not too familiar with those either, actually.
Okay.
That's where Cube comes in.
Yeah, he knows all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, and then one of the things in this layer I want to talk about, which should be a surprise for some of you, is brands and digitizers. Now, I've mentioned this in several videos. I just want to make sure we're on the same page. There's lots of tablet brands, okay? I regularly tell people stick to just Sense Labs, Huion, and XP Pen, right? And I say just, everyone else, I don't know about the rest, and everything else that's not listed here, just avoid. Because there's lots of bad, unknown brands out there, okay?
Yeah,
But
I have a very, very unknown brand. They are actually Audi. Yeah, the supermarket
you're not.
Audi.
Oh my.
I am actually not kidding. I have a USB graphics pad from I think 2014
From
made by
Audi.
Audi.
I don't even know what to say. I really don't know what to say.
It's their own private label, but it's made by Audi.
So, what I want to get across to the audience is, do you have it though?
Yes, I actually have one.
Okay, maybe can we see it later?
Pictures beforehand.
Okay.
I'll send you. I remember having the pictures somewhere on the Discord server. I'll just. There we go. I don't actually have the pen of that Audi, tablet, by the way. It's just the tablet itself.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so for some of you, this may be the first time you're seeing the differences between the businesses and the brands. So there's lots of tablet brands. There's only 3 major businesses: Wacom, Huion, and Hanvon UG. How to read this slide is pretty simple. There's a company called Wacom that has a brand called Wacom. That's over here, right? Company Wacom on top, brand called Wacom on the bottom. Now, there was a company called UC Logic which the business called Huion acquired, and under the Huion business, we have at least 3 tablet brands.
Yep.
Huion.
So Huion, yeah. Flagship and budget, although these days it's more like mid-range. There's not really many budget tablets. Galmon, which is basically exclusively all just budget tablets, especially in the Chinese market, actually. And Artisul, which they don't really care about. They just acquired them and they just kind of left them. Don't really care about them. Yeah.
Let me say a GN to meter. So I guess maybe one question I had for you is Galmon. Galmon seems to be much bigger in China.
Yes,
Than
by the
Huion.
volume of sales,
Yeah.
yes. In other areas, I can't really get the stats. I can only really get like sales and also number of videos and billability.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Galmon has like a lot more sales, right?
Yeah.
So they get to enjoy like what 100,000 sales or something on their 1060 Pro, but then Huion, nothing even reaches like 10,000 sometimes.
Interesting. It surprises me because the company's name is Huion. So you'd expect that the Huion brand would be doing amazing there, right?
No, but then markets are always different, right? Obviously, in the Chinese market, since everyone's they got less money than, let's say, in America, so Galmon would make more sense. While over here, let's say in America or Australia, people are rich as, and so Huion makes a lot more sense. They really want to push Huion instead of the Galmon brand, stuff like that.
Okay, I understand. There is a logic to the differentiation here. Yeah. Okay, and then we have, most people know of UG, but the actual company is called Hanvon UG. Yeah. And was that due to a merger between 2 companies? Or this?
I don't actually know. I really don't know. There's no history behind it I can find. So I know there's a company called Hanvon. They're an OEM.
Yeah.
To like many different things, and they just seem to own UG, XP Pen, and Sense Labs. I don't know where they got the Hanvon UG name from, but apparently it exists.
Okay, so UG is well regarded in China. We have it listed as flagship here. Would that still be fair?
Technically, I wouldn't say they flagship because like they pretty much operate like separate companies in China.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
so what's
does
merger?
does XP Pen have a lot of, as a brand, have much traction there?
Let me think. Yes, sort of. Not really though, because they do release their tablets there and all that. I don't think it's as prevalent as UG by like a long shot as well, because different markets really. Like it's kind of the same thing with Helion and Galmon.
Yeah.
Because UG is just cheaper, right? And they also pump out more. Well, I don't think they actually pump out more, products, but.
And
Yeah.
Hanem has a comment here. I think it's in reference to the Hanban UG. It was a
Yeah,
merger
it was a
venture.
merger
Merger.
venture.
Okay.
Not too sure.
So I just want to share one more thing here, which is like, maybe two things. Number one is just because a company owns 3 brands doesn't mean that those brands all use the same exact digitizers, right? Because it's not totally obvious. This might imply that, but it's not necessarily true, right?
Yeah.
The second thing is, and this is just more about me and how I talk about tablets. Even though I think what I apply, let me back up. Really, I'm talking about the tablets I can find. And, I don't see Gammon being used a lot in my market, which is the US, obviously. And so I tend to talk about Wacom and Huion and XP Pen and Zenslabs because they seem to me the ones that are in my market the most. And I always think people should get tablets where there are lots of other users. And I just don't see in the United States, many people don't seem to get Gammon and UG, even though they're in the same business, right? And I just want to make sure people know why, for example, in the Huion brand, I tend to just talk about Huion, and Hanban UG, I talk about XP Pen instead of UG, right? Because it can be a little confusing why I seem to ignore some brands. And I do have a couple of these other brands, but I have never really used those tablets. So I don't want to put myself out there as having strong opinions when I just don't have the data myself. Let's see, Hanem says, according to their site, it's a co-branding partnership. Okay, interesting.
Oh, cool. Yeah, because I know Hanbon does make digitizers themselves. I don't know, it might be nice. It might be pretty cool. Don't know.
Let's see, business and brands, I covered this already. Oh, and so I say digitizer a lot. I just want everyone to see what a digitizer exactly looks like, because we're gonna compare this to something else later. I think you might know what I'm talking about. And let's just say it involves the word moons.
Oh no.
I found your video about it. So I took a snapshot from it. So yeah, these digitizers, that's what's inside the plastic shell of a pen tablet or underneath the display of a pen display. So got this covered. Okay, yeah, this is another thing in that layer, which is these colored rings. And so Wacom used to offer these for these pens. And for people who've never used these pens, here's a pen I actually have. This is a KP403E, I believe. And was this the original Pro Pen? Do you remember Tablet Kitten 403?
Yeah, I know about the old one. I just never used it.
So just so people see, you can just take off that top cone, and then you got these color nibs. Now, I thought this was a nice idea by Wacom. I thought this was a nice touch, because remember, Wacom had this thing. Let me go back here. You have these 4 different rings. So they let you do per pen preferences in the tablet driver. So for example, you could have one pen that has one kind of pressure curve, and another kind of pen has a different kind of pressure curve. And you can tell which pen it is by changing the color. The color doesn't, mean anything. It's just for your eyes to know which pen you're holding. I think it was a great personalization idea. But they dropped this idea, which is a shame because I feel like it didn't complicate the device much. It's just a nice.
Like it really didn't.
Yeah.
I have the whole set actually of colors
Really?
sitting around. Yeah, I just don't use it though because I only have one Pro Pen 2. So.
And Mihao had to buy the ring from AliExpress.
It's a cool bit of customization.
It is.
That's
It
literally
is.
it. Like, if you want a tablet, like at least, like there's no reason not to like pimp it up a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, as we'll see, Wacom just takes these things away from us, right?
Like Wacom these days, all they're doing is just producing like single colored tablets. I mean,
Yeah.
At least with the Wacom ones, like the 2023 ones with the new Wacom One Pen, whatever it is.
Yes.
They at least give you like customization options for like the pen
Yes.
top bit.
Yes. Yes. I mean, sure, it's a bad pen, but I do appreciate they're personalizable. I do really appreciate that.
Yeah. Yes.
I will
Yes.
I will give them credit for that.
Yeah. Like,
I like
11 out of 10 for effort with customization.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, now we're going to talk about OSU. Okay. So this is maybe, let me just overview some of the topics, and then we'll talk about them in great detail. So everyone, I guess the key context I'd like to explain here is, most of you who are drawing probably don't know this thing called OSU exists. I didn't until about 2.5 years ago, or 3 years ago. In fact, actually, it's a little bit longer than that. And the way I discovered OSU was, do you remember Tablet Kitten on Reddit? There was this event one year called Our Place.
Yeah, r/place.
Yeah.
OSU community made a few things here and there.
So that's where I first saw the name OSU. And
with the logo.
Yes, and I struggled because I'd never heard it. I thought, what the hell is OSU? Is that a person? It must be someone famous to get so. I really had no clue, right? So that happened, and then a few years later, I ran into. I'm not really sure exactly how, but I ran into the Cube Discord server, right? And it's there I learned people play this game. And I was just amazed. So we'll try to show it for the audience, but basically, to quickly summarize the topics, OSU is a game where you, quote, click the circles. And you don't have to play it with a drawing tablet, but many do. And the way they use drawing tablets is remarkably different from what you do when you're drawing. For example, some don't touch the pen to the tablet, they hover. Those are called hover players.
Yep, I'm one of them.
And he's one of them, right? And the speed at which they do this would frighten you. And the precision also, I think, is frightening. And also, I'm holding up a tablet here in a second, which is the Intuos Pro 2025 Medium. And this is a medium tablet, of course, but we're used to using the full active area. But some of these OSU players are playing on very small active areas, like, just tiny little active areas. I guess that makes it more performant for them. But I'm sharing that because, again, they're so obsessive about the performance of these tablets. They learn a lot about tablets, okay? And they want the highest performance, which leads me to one of the topics here, which is OTD, Open Tablet Driver. They wanted better performance, I guess, than the Wacom tablet drivers, which are adding some position smoothing and thus pointer lag. So they wrote their own driver called Open Tablet Driver. And if I'm not mistaken, Haku is a previous custom driver.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, so Hoku, you could say, was like kind of the pioneer of custom tablet drivers for like OSU. There was a fork called DevoCub, which added like a few filters.
Yeah.
And then Open Tablet Driver came along and just kind of replaced Hoku and DevoCub because they kind of stopped getting like updates. Got
it. And for those who don't play OSU, I mean, Open Tablet Driver is not useful for you typically, though one place it will come really handy is OSU supports a lot of tablets, like 200, more than 200. And so if you have an older Wacom tablet especially if it's a pen tablet, you'll find that Open Tablet Driver supports it, even though the Wacom, the newer drivers no longer support it. Now, to use it on Windows, you need to have pressure sensitivity for art. And in order to do that, you have to set up Open Tablet Driver. There's something called vMulti, or vMulti. And that's its own thing. It's a little complicated to explain, but it's part, again, about how things start getting complicated as you start using tablets in these kind of very extraordinary circumstances. Another great thing about Open Tablet Driver, OTD, is that it supports plugins like Slimy Scylla, which is made by Tablet Expert Cube, which offers things like position smoothing, pen smoothing, all sorts of things that are very useful for artists if you're going to use Open Tablet Driver. So we're talking about something that's very visual. Tablet Kitten, can you give us a demo?
Of OSU?
Yeah, just so people can...
If you really want to. Okay.
And I'll check on my computer. Yeah.
Wait, I might need to, because I play on my main display, so.
How about this? I can always just play a video off YouTube.
Well, guess what? We got it.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah, we got OSU.
Okay. Now
yes,
I need to figure out how to show it on the screen. So give me a second. I think it's. Hang on, folks. Hang on, folks.
I mean, I'm not particularly too good. I'm only.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm decaying to 27k now. I used to be a lot better, but it's been a long time since I played. So.
Let me see if I can. So just keep on just playing. I'm just trying to figure out how to get it on screen again. Let's see, where is that darn? Oh, I see. Why am I not seeing it?
I don't know. I mean, you can always just play a random, like, video off YouTube anyway.
Yeah, let me do that.
That's probably an easier way.
Yeah. This, the way we're doing it with this method. Give me 1 second, folks. Okay, and I will mute the. Is there some concern about the music while it's streaming?
This one is part of OSU, so it should be fine. But
what should I search for? It would be a.
I don't know. Just like. Oh.
Why don't I try? Why don't we just do this one?
Yeah, it doesn't really matter too much. YouTube's got a pretty good content, like, thing on it.
I mean, so folks, which one was the Through the Fire and the Flames one?
Just anything should work.
Okay, anything will work. Okay.
Yeah. So OSU, Through the Fire and Flames.
So just watch, honestly, folks, how my thing is muted actually. Is it coming through the audio? I'm not sure it is. Let me see. Anyway, the key thing you have to understand is no human can do this. Okay? And you might be able to see in the video. Let me maximize it. Oops, people are not seeing it. There we go. So if you look very carefully in the lower right-hand corner, you can see Emmer's hand moving on the tablet. It's a little dim. But there is no way a normal person who's drawing on President or whatever could possibly do this. Now this Emmerich is one of the best, or maybe the best, actually.
He is the best.
He is the best. He's a talented fellow, I guess.
Yes!
Yeah.
Oh my fucking god!
He's very
Oh
excited,
my
right?
god! Yes!
But this is the community also. This is the game they play. And I think it's incredible to see. I had no idea people could be this talented at playing a game like this. And it really stunned me. And I do plan to actually create a video about Osu from, kind of an anthropologist perspective to show people what it, not to try to get them to play it, but more for like tablet people who draw to understand there's another world of people who use tablets, which they have never seen, right?
Make sure to consult some, some experts at OSU.
Oh yeah,
And
trust
like
me.
people who are slightly more knowledgeable, because you don't want to anger some people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think on Cube server there are plenty of people who can, who are experts and very, very skilled at the game as well. So I'll make sure I won't say anything unless they say that's the correct thing to say. Okay, where were we? We were at. Okay, I think we need. I think there's one topic on here I did not mention, which I'm going to have to defer to you to explain the 727.
Yes. So there is a certain man called Cookie Z. He used to be the best of the best. He still is one of the best. He's one of the legends.
Yeah.
He was aiming for the PP record. So in let's say 2015 or whatever, and he was playing Blue Zenith, and well, he one missed and he got 727, and then he actually repeated that again. He got 727 again. This time with hidden hard rock instead of just hard rock, and it was actually a 2-miss. So
Yeah.
It's pretty much a meme in the OSU community.
But why did 727? Because it always gets slid in to so many contexts.
It's sort of just a meme at this point.
But what made it popular? Why did people suddenly latch on to the number?
Because it's Cookie Z, and
Yeah.
everyone loves Cookie Z. Like the most well-known person. And
Yeah.
actually it was 2016, not 2015, when he did the 727 for the first time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just partly driven by his personality, it sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's basically got a cult of personality. Let's just say something like that.
Got it.
So he did 727 2 times on the same map, right?
Yeah.
And then I think it was 2020, Iru is like Aru. I don't know how to pronounce his name. There's another Osu player who went in, got a 727 PP play on, I think it was Guess Who Is Back with DT.
Yeah.
It's another map. And then, he yelled out, when you see it and all that. And then that became kind of like the definitive thing with 727 as like,
Is that where when you see it came from too?
Yeah, when you see it, that's when that's when
I didn't know
that
that.
came around.
Didn't know that. Well, thanks for the lore.
Yes.
Let's take a few comments here. Amit says, my Cintiq 21UX stopped giving pen input ever since I updated to the latest MacBook. Does Open Tablet Driver support 21UX? It might. But also it just could be the Mac OS. I feel like Mac OS upgrades impinge upon drivers much more than Windows. Of course, I worked at Microsoft. What else am I gonna say?
Mac just completely destroys all the drivers once you update. You just have to wait till the drivers update to the new Mac version.
Let's see. Koyo says, check my ping on Discord. Okay, Koyo, I will do that. Give me a second. Let's take a quick look. Ping on Discord. Koyo. Okay, let's just take a quick look. He's just teaching me something about, I forgot to tell you about this. There's something, this is for collab on stream, displaying avatar for Discord's call. Okay, I maybe don't want to mess things around right now, Koya, but I will definitely remember this. Because I remember I want to do a part 2 of the stream when we get Cube and talk about stuff. So absolutely, I'm gonna look at that. Where else? Okay, now we're getting into level. We're at where were we at? We were at level 3. Now we're getting to level 4, right?
Yep.
And this is where things start. Again, just start. Now it was hard to put things in the levels. You know, to be honest, there were probably more levels in the diagram that I had planned to do. But so I just, you know, people can argue which levels that I got into. And again, we won't talk about every topic because some of them require Cube or some other people to talk about. But some of these I will talk about here. Number 1 is, let me open up my other deck here. Oops, not that one. This one, yeah. UDEMR. So this is a wild topic. Basically, when we talk about Wacom Wacom EMR is, we can broadly say it's all the EMR pens that Wacom makes. They use a technology called EMR, right? And there's kind of a subset of it. And that subset's called Wacom UDEMR. Now Wacom really doesn't use that name very often. I think they use, correct me if I'm wrong, Tablet Kitten, Wacom Feel or Feel It, right?
Yeah. Lots of different names. I'm not too sure. I haven't looked into it.
And so you'll have trouble finding a pen that says Wacom UDMR. They're not even all labeled Wacom Feel, but they're like, as I understand it, 2 generations of Wacom UDMR pens. And the second generation, their implementations are cross-compatible, okay? So basically, if you have a device that works with one of these UDMR pens of that generation, it'll work with any of the UDMR pens for that generation, right? And that's wild. It's one of the first times we can see Wacom is supporting third-party pens, okay? And here's a list of some of them. Now, the ones on the left, I actually, oh, God damn it, the screen's not even being shown. You know, it's it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Sometimes, there we go. Okay, the ones on the left, I didn't really require a screen for what I'm showing anyway, but the ones on the left are the ones I actually have and I've tested. And I've tested them across multiple tablets. In fact, all of these pens work with the Wacom Intuos Pro 2025, which is nice because even though these pens aren't great, they're actually, what do I call it? They're decent, and more importantly, they're cheap, right?
Yep. It really just gives you more options. Like if you don't like the feeling of your Pro Pen 3, you can just go for, let's say, a Lamy All-Star, which is actually a really nice fountain pen. I actually have one of like the fountain pens. The Dr. Grip is also really nice.
Yeah. I've never tried any of the ones on the right, so that's something I have to explore this year.
Okay. Yeah, so if you've actually used the physical versions of, like, not the EMR versions, right? So the Lamy All-Star, I really like the grip on that thing. I don't really use it as my main like pen, but I sometimes use it. I like it quite a lot actually. The Dr. Grips, I really like those mechanical pencils. And the Stabler Norris, you can find those pencils like everywhere. Yeah, they're great. Like you can really you can get a feel for it without actually buying the EMR pen. Like if you like the feeling of it, you can definitely go for the EMR pen and you'll probably get like a feeling that's really similar.
Are all of these like that? They have a non-EMR, like a normal pen implementation?
The High Uni, I think that's just a pencil.
Yeah.
If you find any Mitsubishi like pencil, I feel like I'm pretty sure they're like all the same like design. The Stabler Norris, that one's actually a pencil. I have a few sitting around, but I don't know where I put them.
That explains why Go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah. That's why it looks like a pencil and feels like a
Yeah,
pencil.
that's exactly what I was gonna say.
So the Norris is the sort of triangular, like rounded triangular looking one, I think.
Yeah.
While the High Uni is like, I think, hexagonal. I don't remember too much about those. The Lamy Safari and the All-Star are pretty similar, but I've never used the Safari. I just know that the grip looks really similar to some extent. And then the Dr. Grip, that's a mechanical pencil, I'm pretty sure. Was it? Hold on, let me just verify if it is Dr. Grip. Yeah, it is the mechanical pencil. And I actually I did use one when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Quite a few years back. About it. Like it's actually a really nice pencil for like drawing, like
Yeah.
not really line art. It was just great for like technical drawings, like engineering drawings. Loved it. Very nice grip. And then I have no idea about the third wave or like the all sport.
Got it.
No idea about those.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of those. Those seem new to me. And this list on the right came from Wacom for their Intuos Pro 2025 tablet. This was the compatibility list.
Yeah.
So I was a little surprised.
To be fair though, any pen that ranges from like 530 kilohertz to like 590 kilohertz will probably work.
Got it.
And yes, that actually does include, I think some non-Wacom pens you might get. I know Huion pen might register. Like I think the PW100 might register, or like maybe some other Huion pens, because I know some which are like near that area.
And of course, because they wouldn't be complex pens, because these are the cheaper consumer line,
Yeah,
right?
they're literally just FM modulation, nothing too special.
Got it. It's surprising they work as well as they do, honestly.
Oh no, because it's just an alternative it's just an alternative way of like sending data. Like there's not really much difference really, other than maybe the fact that there's going to be more temperature variance because you're sending it in an analog
way. Yeah.
Yeah, because like LC oscillators just have some weird physics going on.
Let's see. Ahmed says the Kindle Scribe pen also. Really?
I'm not surprised if it works. Like, I really am not surprised. Anything within that 530 to 590 range, just
interesting.
It works. That reminds me, I think my 10 Moons also work.
Oh my god. And this is just a picture of some of the pens, UD-EMR pens I have, by the way. Just to prove to you, I have tested all these. Okay, and in this next category, we also have, I called it's listed as PTK 1240 Supremacy. Well, this is the Intuos for XL. And I just want to talk about it because it's very few people know about this tablet, and it's like tablet from another age, okay? Because it's huge, number one. It was the last big Wacom tablet they ever made, right? The physical size is crazy. It's 30, it's basically a 31 or 31 inch tablet, which is huge for a tablet. Like, if you compare it to, let's say, a 32 inch monitor or something, it is amazingly big. And the active area is, so it's basically the size of a 22 inch monitor or 23 inch monitor. So that's the biggest tablet that we've had from Wacom recently. Now I think this series, I forgot which year. I think it was created in 2011, maybe. Does that sound about right?
Either. I don't remember. I haven't looked into this much.
I mean, I have 5 of these, by the way, right? But I loved it. I loved it. But people don't really know how big they are. So here's an example just to help you conceptualize. Now, the Intuos Pros here are listed as the 2017 versions, okay? But you can, and this is just the active area, not the physical size of the tablet. So you can just imagine, the large is pretty big, right? The Intuos for large, just think about how much bigger it is. And just another way of thinking about it, if you think about the area of the Intuos 4 XL, it's equivalent of 4 Intuos Pro mediums put together. right? Or 9 Intuos Pro Smalls put together, right? Just think about just to give it a more human sense for how big this is. And here it is for me. Here's one of the 5 I have. It's so big, I put it on this kind of stand that holds it at an angle. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to reach the top part of the screen. It has to be at an angle, otherwise I can't draw on the top part of it, right? Putting it at an angle brings it a little closer to me. So this is, if you're gonna use a tablet like this, you have to change your work setup, your desk setup. You have to do things, you have to dedicate your desk to it, and otherwise it won't fit. And in fact, it's not really heavy, but it's heavy enough that it's discomforting to move. So rather than move it, I would actually, let's say I had to eat a sandwich or something, I would take the stand and make the stand go flat and put my dinner plate on top of the tablet and eat it. Because it became a desk at that point. And here's just another view of it. You can see how big it is compared to a keyboard. In this layer also, another thing that comes up, which is the bane of existence for Windows users, is the Windows Ink versus WinTab choice. Now, I've shown it here on the left on the Wacom driver. There's a checkbox that says use Windows Ink. And on the right, you see the preferences dialog from Clip Studio Paint, where you have to check between WinTab and Tablet PC. This is the source of so much confusion in the Windows world, because you'll have an application that works, and for some reason you have to switch it from WinTab to Tablet PC or Windows Ink or back. And I'm actually doing a long video on this topic because it's so confusing, and the UI is maybe misleading would be the right word. But this is another thing that really makes the experience of using tablets frustrating on Windows. And Mac people should be happy that they do not have to deal with this.
Yeah, same thing on Linux. You don't really have WinTab, Tablet PC, all that.
Yeah.
All those shenanigans.
And let's see, let me make sure I didn't miss anything from we were at level...
Yeah, we're at level 4. Actually, can you go back to the level 4 part? Like the main, the main slide with all the stuff on there?
Isn't that what I'm showing?
Wait. I'm looking at the YouTube. Oh, okay, yeah.
It just takes a second.
So, I'll kind of run through the other stuff with the Gaomon separate Chinese stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
So the deal is, Gaomon has a basically entirely different Chinese lineup of tablets. They've got one which kind of just works with a phone, and you've got a button that changes the active area, right? So it goes from 16 to 11 to 16 by 10, 16 by 9, and then also I think 16 by 8.
Oh, that's that cute looking one, the picture you showed, right? With a little switch.
No, that's the Pablo. That's different.
Pablo, okay.
Yeah, so Gaomon has a completely separate one, and then that's got the SN540 or the M5. I don't know why they just renamed it all of a sudden. There's also the M6, M7, M8, and then there's also the WH850 and then the WH851, which is actually common between the two markets. And yeah, they also have completely different pens as well. With they've got the AP519, AP515, AP517, the PW102, and also I think the Pen 42 or something. Off the top of my head, I can't remember everything. So yes, lots of unique stuff, and they also have the GM series of pen displays, which they're sort of similar to the global ones, I think. But yeah, they are really cheap. The most important one, I think, is actually the Gaomon 1060 Pro. I actually have that one. And there's a whole load of different revisions, whole load of different firmware revisions as well for that one. It is a pain in the ass to like actually keep track of. That one is like less than $20 in American dollars right now. Like less than $20. For basically, you know the Huion H, the Huion H 1060p? Have you heard of it?
Yes.
Yes, so it's basically the exact same as that, but like what, $17 right now. When you do the conversions from Chinese yuan.
How much was it again?
is Like $17 or something
Oh wow.
in American dollars right now. Yeah.
So this
If you do the conversions.
the lineup, is there anything that makes the lineup interesting compared to the American lineup? Or the rest of the world?
Apart from the M5, the M5.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on, let me go on M5. Find a picture of it. Okay, so apart from the M5, I don't really think there's anything. Apparently it's also sold in Vietnam.
Interesting.
But yeah, here's
Let
just
me-
a picture I found.
And I see you post. You put the picture in the Discord, right?
Yeah.
Let's see if I can
So,
show it here.
It's just a random picture. I don't have the tablet myself, so
Got it.
It's a pretty interesting notebook looking figure.
Okay, let me put it on there. Oh, okay.
But
It-
like otherwise, there really isn't that much differentiating the Chinese lineup. It's really just the M5 that's like really like special because there's that button which adjusts the ratio.
Okay, so it's not like we're missing out on some critical tablet features.
No, not really.
Okay.
Not really. Especially now Android 14 and above, right?
Yeah.
Literally anything works.
Yeah.
So there's no. I think they got rid of it. They made a new revision of this tablet without the button. Though don't quote me on that. I've just seen like a picture of it before and never looked into it. Yeah. And then there's also Huion forcing Chinese driver language. So this only happens if you have Chinese firmware on the tablet. So my Gaomon 1060 Pro, yeah, that one forces like the driver language. So the Gaomon driver language, like to Chinese, right? It should do the same thing with Huion, as well.
Sorry, let me make sure.
That's because it's a Chinese model of tablet, and also it's got Chinese firmware.
Well,
on there.
let me make sure I have the understanding right. For the sake of argument, let's say I just, I had someone bring me this tablet from China, right?
Yes.
And I Huion just has one driver version for everything, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
They don't have
It's
like
the
a
same
Chinese
exact
driver. Okay. And then I'm going to take this tablet model, which is only available in China, and I'm going to plug it into my PC. And the driver, even though I'm running Windows in the English
Yes,
locale,
exact same driver, exact same computer. You
The
can do that.
the driver is going to ask the tablet, what language are you in, or something. Like,
well,
or what
the
region?
driver should know. The driver should know from the tablet because the tablet just reports.
yeah, it's like,
itself,
but
right?
my key thing is like there's something identifying the tablet, right?
Yes,
like, it could be
and
the
that's
model
very
number or
likely
whatever.
something to do with model number, maybe revision.
Yeah.
Or maybe even just the firmware itself,
Got it. That way that,
right?
got it. And then
And
it's going to be, they're going to do like model number equals something. And like, if that's true,
something, yeah.
then switch the display
Then-
language of the driver.
Yes,
Chinese.
to Chinese, and you cannot change it. Like you can go into the driver settings and then try to change language, but there's only going to be one option, and that's simplified Chinese.
I wonder why they do it that way. I guess, well, they don't.
Why not? I mean, I don't know why. It's weird.
I mean, I guess what makes me confused is this. Like, speaking from background. I can understand preventing the user, getting into a state that you never meant to support, right?
Yes.
I totally get that. Like, we never meant, this person to run a nuclear plant with Excel or something. It's like, hey, we're not going to launch the app, or we're not going to let you do something. I get it, because you don't want to be, you don't want to deal with the issue. But they had to write code to prevent this from happening.
Yeah.
Right? It's one thing to say, we won't help you if you call from, Redmond, Washington, and you're using the Chinese tablet, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I get that. But like, to actively say it can't be used is like, were they really fearful of lots of people buying it?
Possibly,
Or,
but then you can't even buy it outside of China.
That's what I'm trying to get at. Like, why even bother making the driver that smart? Right?
Like, yeah, it's like a waste of resources in that
Yes.
case. And also, like, you're kind of just restricting. Well, that's probably a good thing for the business side of things, but.
It's just weird. They took all the effort for it.
Yeah, it's.
Because how many people were ever in the United States going to get the tablet? Zero. Maybe 1-2 guys.
I think someone's gonna get it. Like, I'm in Australia. They don't sell it here, but I got one.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, they don't want to deal with these cases for support cases. I get. It's interesting they took this much effort to avoid it.
Yeah.
Okay, and
yeah, firmware update to 16K pressure levels. That's a UG thing actually. So. UG's actually gone, like, I don't know if it's still on their website, I haven't checked, but UG actually advertised that you could update the firmware and you get 16K pressure levels on tablets with
okay.
8K. That was really funny to see.
So they were actually public about it. They were like, hey, do this,
yes,
and
they
you
were
get this.
very public about it.
Okay.
Well, so, my UG UE12 that I just have sitting around, as like my third monitor right now. That one can get the firmware update. I have not done it yet. I have not updated yet. But I want to try it out, but haven't really bothered.
By the way, someone pointed out we can probably buy them in Russia. I don't know if they're official vendors though. So I guess the point is it's not easy to buy these things, but it's possible. Sorry, or it's possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, if you know someone who lives in China who can probably ship it to you, or if you're just good at like using Taobao or like Jingdong, right? Or like any of the marketplaces there, you can easily get one. They ship like everywhere. It's just that you have to go through the hoop of setting up stuff like Alipay and also like translating and all that, and also getting the process right because they're just gonna block your account on Taobao if you like mess it up.
Got it.
It's pretty hostile.
That's a shame. So one thing about the pressure levels, I mean, this is something I'm always emphasizing to people, which is, you remember how the peepo I had at the beginning, pressure levels aren't real?
Yep.
Right? And I keep telling people, like, the number of pressure levels it's not, I wouldn't say the word fake. It's not fake.
It's kind of arbitrary.
It's arbitrary. Yeah, that's the right word, right? And because it's a number that people intuitively get, like they have some intuition about it. They don't totally understand the benefit of it, right?
Yeah.
And so we have this marketing competition of higher and higher pressure levels, which is why I'm so happy Wacom didn't increase the number for the Intuos Pro 2025. They just said 8,000 is enough.
SenseLab is good. I don't think SenseLab is gonna like change it for like the new tablet.
Really? I hope they don't.
Pen Tablet 2.
I want
because
them to.
it's using the same pen as like the one with like the displays, right? It's using the V2 pen. That one I think digitally reports 8K, so there's no reason to change.
There's no reason.
16.
So do you know the analogy? I've never actually said this live, but I've thought about this explanation if someone asked me or made the claim that 16,000 pressure levels is really important, right? So I'm gonna try this out live with you, okay? So tell me if this explanation makes sense.
Whoa.
Saying 16,000 pressure levels is important. Is like buying a car where they advertise, there's like a maximum speed. Let's just say it's 100
Oh no.
miles an hour. It's like saying, oh, there are 16,000 different speeds we can go to between, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? It's like,
Like,
what? We understand the minimum speed is 0. We understand the maximum is 100 miles an hour or 200 kilometers an hour. But like 16,000 different speed levels?
no, maybe no. But like,
You could think of it differently because, like, realistically with a car, what are you going to do? Like, you're just going to be stopping, starting. I don't think cars are like that good of an analogy.
But my point is, like, we know that you need more than 2 speed levels.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We're sure that you need more than 4, right?
yes.
But if a
or else
car
you're gonna
goes
be
a-
flying out of the
But if a car goes 100 miles an hour as its max speed, right? There's, just using our intuition, just intuitively, do we really need more than 10x the pressure levels?
No.
Right? Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
like,
even
there's no need.
there's no need. There's no need to get, more than, 10,000. Sorry. Yeah, if it's 100 miles an hour, 1,000 pressure levels should cover you,
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
right? Maybe 4,000 would. But why would you need 16?
I mean, Wacom did stay on like 2,000 levels until what? 2017?
Yes, that's exactly right. And I think
Yeah,
that's all you need. Actually, I'll back up. If someone can do an official study where they, blindfold people, or not blindfold people, but like they don't know, the people don't know which pen they're using, right? And
But you also need to account for the differences between the pens themselves.
yeah,
Because
I hear you.
not all pens behave the same.
Yeah, but we can find that some of them are very consistent, right?
Yes, but ideally you'd be using the same pen.
Ideally, you'd be using a pen that had this. Yes, and maybe with Open Tablet Drive, with Slimy Scylla, you get there's some sort of pressure emulation, right?
Yeah.
And
That works already.
right, and so you could do that. Same pen, same
downsample.
performance.
Yeah.
Oh, Mihao has a comment here. OTD plugin that randomizes pressure sensitivity. Yeah, there we go. So I'm convinced people would not be able to tell the difference between 1,000 and 2,000, 4,000. Like, then surely it's only, it's just like
It's just
toss.
placebo in that case.
Yes.
Really
And by the way,
is.
I am happy to be wrong. Understand, I'm not hinging my life's worth on this, whether I'm right or wrong on this. If anyone can show me that I'm wrong, I will sing their praises. I will have no problem admitting I was wrong. I just want someone to do it. Right?
That'd be fun though.
It would be fun. If someone can prove me wrong, I'd be thrilled. I'd be thrilled. That was one of my big shocks coming into drawing tablets. When you start discovering, there's what you think there is, and then you start discovering, reality is being peeled away, right? Which is why it's a good level 4 topic. Okay, level 5. We're not going to come too much here. There's a couple of topics here we wanted to touch on. I'll do a few, then we'll come to you.
Yeah, sure.
Let me get to. I know it's a bit weird switching between these slide decks, but so one is adjusting potentiometers, and there's a video I found showing this. So in certain, I think rather older pens, you can change the resonant frequency by taking a screwdriver and turning this potentiometer in the middle of the pen. Now, not all pens have this. I think it's relatively rare now. Would that be fair, Tablet Kitten?
I've not seen one apart from maybe I think it was PW507.
Yeah.
None of my pens that I know of have had potentiometers.
Yeah, I think this is all old stuff. I think this requires it to be an analog type thing as well.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely because RLC, right?
And
Potentiometers control resistance.
And so where I saw people use this is when suddenly their pen is either drawing while hovering or not drawing,
Yep.
right? And just slight changes here will change that resonance, the resonant frequency, and it might fix the problem, right?
Might, yeah.
Might. There's just
Could
a
be other
close up.
things, but
Exactly.
it is one of those nice things to have on a pen for the old ones.
Yes.
But that's kind of it.
Yes. Let's see. Sorry, I only had this one slide there, so we'll get back to these. So the other thing that came up here was metal nibs. Now I did a video on this, a video series, and I'll just repeat the thing. I really don't recommend you use a metal nib with a pen. Now some people have used them and there's been no bad experience, but what I found was I think my pen lost some initial activation force using a metal nib. Now, to be fair, I need to repeat the experiment. It was like a 6-month experiment, by the way. The reason people are using metal nibs, or the reason they said was they were getting tired of their nibs in their Pro Pen 2 wearing down on the surface of the Pro Pen, on the Intuos Pro, which makes sense because they come with kind of very rough surfaces. So, yeah, some people still have problems with them, but I will say this. If you ignore that problem, they actually worked great. It didn't feel too much different from a plastic nib. They didn't wear down, and they did not scratch up the surface. So in that sense, they work great. I just think Mir has a point. You may or may not have forgotten about circular tablet area. Well, we did forget Mir, so why don't we talk about it? Let's talk about it. But Tablet Kitten, you're gonna have to talk about it.
Okay, so in Open Tablet Driver, there's this cool plugin called Circular Tablet Area. It basically kind of warps around your tablet area. It could be circular, it could just be like the other way around. You can make some really weird, there's some really weird presets in there.
Yeah.
And so it's more of one of those fun things to do. Cube made it. I think he's the better person to ask, honestly.
Yeah, so when we get him on, we'll ask. And
yeah,
I'm still not totally clear why someone would choose to do it, right? I think it makes something more efficient, but I'm not totally sure exactly how someone would.
It's the corners. It's the
corners. Because it's traveling less distance.
That much.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. But I guess the thing I'm most amazed by is that a human might be able to adjust to this non-linear change.
You can adjust to anything.
It just seems crazy. You can't adjust to anything.
Well, yeah, but you can adjust to like a lot of things with tablets. Like you can adjust to like a different tablet area for OSU like really quickly. For some people.
See, Mir said it's mostly for less RSI. Okay, that's a good motivating reason, Mir. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll definitely ask Cube, because I think, if I understand correctly, it took him a while to figure out how to do it. It's complex.
Yeah, some of the presets are really like wacky. Most of them are like pretty straightforward though, I think.
And Mir says it's because our wrists are more comfortable doing circular motion. That I believe. Let's see, yeah. Tokaku made a video about trying. Oh, okay, I'll watch it. I'll watch that video, Mir. Thank you. Mir, can you share the link to the video? At least after the stream, I'd love to check it out. Okay, let's see, another topic here is, and this is an interesting one, pressure sensor degradation. Now, I think the context here was, it has to deal with, well, at least the context I discussed it with Cube, if I remember, was storing the pen. Now, I used to store my pens like, you can just see it here. Like this, okay? So the tip was down. And now Cube was of the opinion that that was not a good policy. Thank you, Mir. Thank you, Mir. He's going to put the link in the live stream chat after stream. Cube suggested that was not a good idea. He suggested, because this is by definition creating pressure on the nib, right? And on the pressure sensor. And then I said, well, how about this? And he goes, well, that's better, but still technically the weight of the nib is producing some pressure on the pressure sensor. And I admitted that that seemed right. So his advice was, keep the pen horizontal. So then something wouldn't be pressure. Now I think that's a little paranoid, so I just store my pens like this. But the point is, he felt that like continuous pressure, if you stored it like this, would wear down the pressure sensor. Now I have never noticed it, but then again, I've never measured it. So I guess the only thing I can do is get a pen, measure it, but I need to be good at IF measuring, which I'm not, and then keep it this way for a year and see if something changes. But I've never personally noticed it. It'd take a long time, I think, right? Also,
you also need more than one sample.
That's right. And also, take a look at this pen. I bought this pen last month. This pen was made in 1998, and it works fine. So, it's been like 28 years almost of being in storage, and like the pressure sensor, I don't know how it was stored, but it didn't degrade as far as I can tell. So, we'll see. I'll try to see if I can do a test here. I don't know about Rev A. Oh, actually, driver position prediction. So we know there's pointer lag, but theoretically, the driver could guesstimate where your hand is going to take the pen, and then tell the computer this is where the pen is going. But I think that may require some extra lag. Not lag, but it has its own negative consequences. Apparently, Cube tells me some drivers actually did it. I forgot which ones for which tablets for Wacom, but they since dropped it. Though, Tablet Kitten, I believe you find position prediction on certain Apple pens, right? And certain other kinds of pens?
Actually, all the Apple pencils have it. It's called predicted touch or something. It's in the Apple developer documentation, so it's not like it's a hidden thing or anything.
Yeah. They're very open about it. Now that you mentioned that, go ahead.
Yeah. So you just usually basically what you do to actually test for it is just you either compare it to use what Hawker did, which is compare expected input to the actual input with a 3D printer. Or you can just do the slam test where you just literally slam the pen into
and it'll still, since it's suddenly stopping, you should see it go over.
Yeah,
right?
it should slightly overshoot. So, I mean, it's one of those things that you kind of just have to look for. You don't really notice it.
Let's see, your article come. I didn't know that. Hang on a second. Let me show Mir's comment. On the tablet area, Nosu, a lot of people use more square tablet area than more rectangular.
Yeah.
That's true.
I've heard something like that. I'm not.
That's wild.
Sure.
I would never have imagined people would have done that. I mean, even though it's distorted, right?
Yeah.
On the screen, it's gonna be.
It's slightly distorted, but people do it. I don't really know.
Interesting.
Why or anything.
Very interesting.
I mean, it really is just personal preference.
Yeah, I guess I'm so used to forced proportions. The idea of not doing it is alien to me. Okay, I'm gonna skip tilt compensation and pressure smoothing because those are just probably not so interesting to talk about. I think you've
pressure
got
smoothing. Actually, there's one interesting example.
Yeah.
That's the X3 Elite that I've literally I've tested it and it has hardware pressure smoothing. It's like the only one I know of. It's so weird.
What do you mean?
Like, it smooths the pressure, like,
How do you know it's
from the
hardware?
hardware side. Or like firmware side, and not like driver side, which, like, I think if you were to enable pressure smoothing, it's just going to be in driver side or like art program
Okay.
side.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Well, since we are talking about it, one thing I have noticed is, I think, okay, related conversation. I think this is one of the options tablet manufacturers should add to their driver.
Yeah, definitely.
Because especially the more sensitive an EMR pen is at low pressure, and they're very hypersensitive at low pressure, they
Yeah,
cause
yeah.
a lot of instability, right? A little bit of tablet smoothing goes a long way toward knocking all that out, right? And you'll just get better strokes, right? And I think you could even do it in a, I'm just making this up on the fly, I think you could even do it in a kind of adaptive way, so that you could do smoothing when you need it, which is at the lower end of physical pressure, and not in the middle range or the high range, right? Because you will if you get high amounts of pressure smoothing, you'll notice some lag, right? Pressure lag.
Fair.
But a little bit goes a long way. So that's one thing I think is good. I wish tablet manufacturers exposed it. You want to talk about Linux Wacom and
Oh yeah, so I was looking at Android tablet support.
yeah,
So apparently there's bits and pieces of Linux Wacom and also Digimend. So
Yeah.
for like non-Wacom tablets to work with Linux Wacom and all that stuff. Or was it the lib input? I think it was just to make non-Wacom tablets work with like the lib input driver. I'm not too familiar with the Linux stuff.
could you for the audience explain what Digimend is? Because I think that's not known. For a
It's
lot of people.
basically just a tablet driver for like non-Wacom tablets on Linux. It's a
Got
kernel
it.
driver.
Is there a significance to its name?
Digitizer mending. So basically, digitizers that aren't supported, they just get mended, I guess. I don't know. It's
Okay.
funny. It's a funny.
Okay.
It's a funny.
I didn't.
name.
I never thought about it. I was like very
yeah.
curious.
Yeah, I think it's on the GitHub somewhere.
Okay.
They explained it somewhere. So I was looking through the Android source code.
Yeah.
Well, like the kernel source code for like Android Common Kernel.
Yeah.
Digging through and like realizing in the driver folder in HID, there's actually Linux Wacom code and also Digimend code. So, and then, I did ask you like some time ago to also test like really old Wacom tablets that just shouldn't work on Android. Like, you wouldn't expect to work on Android and it just like works perfectly.
Yeah, the CTL 672
Same
that
thing.
you asked me to test. Yes.
So, yeah, my 470, my PTH 660, they just work like perfectly on Android. And I guess that's why, right? Because they have Linux Wacom code on there. And also like and then, like this kind of system level integration from like Android 14. I guess that just makes tablets like basically work on Android. Like it's pretty incredible actually.
And you said which Android? This is like 14 and 15 have it, right?
Yeah. So the aspect ratio thing.
Aspect ratio. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So
I have to admit, when you asked me to test it, I didn't know. I mean, I did not expect it to work well, to be quite honest.
yeah,
but
I was
it worked
expecting
great.
it to possibly work. Yeah. Yeah.
It
I know.
worked great.
Yeah, I was expecting it to work, but
Yeah.
just like I guess work, right? Like any other tablet.
Yeah. The only disappointment I had is I tried to replicate those tests with the Chromebook.
No, you wouldn't have that on Chromebook.
But I don't know
not the
that.
same.
I don't know that.
It's not the same.
To me,
Like-
they should be the same. You understand my logic there, right? You understand my logic.
Yeah.
Google, Android, Google, Chromebook, like
Fair.
they should, and I think they're trying to bring them together. right?
Yeah.
And so it was a bit of a disappointment. I tried all these tablets with my Chromebook, and I got the
Which is
distorted
something
drawing, right?
Yeah. But like in general though, like the tablet function, right?
Yeah,
Like even the old ones, they worked. It's just that it's distorted. It's likely because instead of mapping horizontally
yeah,
or whatever and like changing the aspect ratio, I think what Android's doing is that it's letting the vertical do its thing
yeah.
or something like that. I'm not.
But you know what's interesting that they did, which is nice. I don't know if you talked about it explicitly. Like the mapping works even if you rotate suddenly the tablet.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's nice.
Yeah, because there's something going on with the system. I don't know what the system's doing.
Yeah,
Like the Android system itself doing.
yeah.
It's incredible, and I don't know the code.
It is incredible. It is incredible. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I don't think on Windows, when I said rotating the tablet, people on the stream, I meant the Android tablet, not the drawing tablet.
Yeah.
Like, it just kind of refigures it out. And that's such a corner case, honestly. Like, because you'd have to think about it. Someone's going, a user is going to plug in a drawing tablet, which most people don't care about in the Android world. And then the user's going to do this business, right? Like,
yeah. I think
like,
it's just
nice.
Huion and Hanwon Yuji kind of like, wanting it to maybe happen and maybe contributing code. I don't know. No, don't even know anything about that. Just speculation at this point.
So, by the way, just to be clear on my testing, I only tested some Wacom tablets. So next to my agenda is to test some Huion and XP Pen tablets, right?
Well, try the oldest ones.
Try the oldest one.
That
I have
do
an
not
HS.
have the firmware to work.
I have an HS611. That's the oldest one I have from the Huion, and hopefully.
When was the last firmware update on that thing?
I don't even know. I don't think I ever updated the firmware.
Oh, we can try that.
I'll try it.
Yeah.
Okay. What about the special edition Wacoms?
Okay, so Wacom releases some interesting stuff in Japan. So I think the most well-known one would be the Ichitaro, so the red CTH480.
Can you?
I know Onikado. Just search it up. So just search up Ichitaro.
Okay, hang on.
Ichitaro 480.
Ichitaro. That's the name of the tablet.
Ichitaro. It's like a limited edition, like 30. I think 30.
Ichitaro tablet.
Yeah. So it's basically the red.
Oh, here we go.
480.
Oh yeah, folks, this is the magic. Look at this. I mean, look. Can you believe Wacom even made this?
It's cool.
It's cool as hell.
Yeah.
This is what Wacom should be doing, making interesting looking tablets. This was a CTL 680, you said?
480.
480.
Or something. I know.
And look at the pen.
Like that.
The pen has color too. A red pen, half red. This is the kind of stuff they're denying me. Oh, I love it.
I know Onikado has one. Something like that. There was also, I'll send you a picture right now of, or like one of the images of one of the special edition Chinese tablets.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a look here.
With the cool winter image.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah.
Okay, this is another thing,
Yeah,
folks.
it's just a box. It's just a box, but like, cool. We want
Okay,
that.
does everyone see this? Look at this. Well, yeah, just to reiterate, it's just the box, but what a beautiful box. This is what I want Wacom to do. Give me beautiful boxes. Don't give me... Just gotta show people this. Wacom, come on. This is what you're giving me? This is what
There's
you're
also
giving me?
other like IP co-branded ones, but I don't think there's any that are actually available right now. So this is just like part of the image.
Yeah. Let's see, Mir has. Okay, something kind of confused me. It's a Chinese brand and their special GS. Well, oh yeah, it's only in Japan and Taiwan. Yeah, it's kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah, the white one, right?
Why do they have the white one only in Japan and Taiwan? What would explain that? And Mir, if you can, he's saying, I'll provide the box image. Please do. I'd love people to see it. I'd love people to see it.
But like, oh yes, I found another one by Wacom. Okay, so this is I think a new one. I'm sending a picture right now on Discord. So
not the
this
IP,
one. This one's
the IP
new,
co-branded?
I think.
Or
Yeah, IP co-branded one.
Oops, sorry.
This one.
Accidentally.
It's another box, but come on, boxes are cool.
Boxes are cool.
Yeah, boxes are really damn cool. Like, this is only in China. I've not seen this on the Japan site.
Yeah. They just need to be doing, and they need to do it for the tablets too, but not.
Yeah, honestly, like, they really need to make these boxes like a reality outside.
Look at this.
You know?
Look at how beautiful it looks.
It is beautiful.
I don't know what it is, but something about this makes me think of a specialty Japanese Kit Kat. The green tea
they
Kit
actually
Kat.
have yeah, they do have the matcha Kit Kats. I've eaten so many of them over the years.
I've only had it one time in my life.
They're okay. They even have the sake ones.
They have a sake Kit Kat.
Yep, no alcohol, but they taste like
what?
sake, I guess.
Okay,
they're
interesting.
They're not
I've got to try some.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. I think I got all your. And then let's wait for Mir to give his thing. And
actually, we can talk about Project Patchouli in the
let me just answer Michael's thing, and we'll go. Mihao says we got to start doing tablet mods. Hey, I will do a stream on tablet mods. I just need to get more suggestions for mods to show. But absolutely. Okay, Patchouli?
Mir also sent the picture.
He sent it? Okay.
The server, live stream chat.
Oh, okay.
On the server.
On the live stream chat. Where is the live stream chat? Live stream
Somewhere at the
chat.
bottom.
Oh, man. Here we go. Here we go.
I think we created
Look.
too many channels on it.
It expand. You're right. We probably did, honestly.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It was a noble intention. Thank you, Mir. Thank you, Mir. I found it.
Great.
It actually says Japan and Taiwan only on the
Yeah.
box.
I know.
Why in the world would it be forbidden to the rest of the world?
I don't know, but it looks good. Like, you don't really see white electronics, but it's such a nice
Yes.
color.
Yes.
Right? Like pink, yeah, sure, it's great, but something about white electronics, it's clean, and it's just the color. Like they used to do it with beige and all that, and then now it's nope, all black.
All black.
Yeah.
Another thing to notice here is Huion's packaging is generally very bland, but this has added. Can you see this kind of watercolor effect to the box? Right, this blue area.
Yeah.
And then of course they actually show an image on the tablet, right? Which is nice, little image there.
Anime.
Anime
A
image.
bit of anime. Yeah.
We need more anime. We need, and it,
Whoa.
yeah, Mihao said it's so lovely in the Discord.
Let
I
me
agree.
check my Galmon box.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they had some art. Nope, not really.
Let's see, and then we want to let's get to Project Patchouli.
Yeah, so the one and only, I guess you could, at this point, I want to call it the reference manual for Tablet Internal.
Yeah.
It's so good. There's so much information on just how tablets work, right? I am 99% sure that the naming is from Patchouli Knowledge from Toho project. I think Yukidama likes Toho.
Where is the link to this thing? Main repo. Okay, here we go. This should get there.
So for now, I think the code, I'm pretty sure that it's only got PW100 support. I'm not.
Yeah.
I haven't looked through that in like a while now. But yeah, so there's like so many different algorithms on there, and like
Yeah.
you know, just how the electronics work. And also like, you know, there's also like circuit diagrams of like the bandpass filter, and also the detector, the integrator, and also like the entire like tablet itself, right? So finally, we've got something that's like, we've got a reference manual for tablet design.
Yes, yes. And maybe we should spend just a minute explaining for the full audience a little bit more about what's going on here, okay?
Okay, so if you go into envelope detection receiver on the implementation, like...
Maybe a little bit even more basic than that. Like,
okay.
Just because some of the audience is not familiar with some of the terms that you're saying. Like, so you can see this video that he's got, right?
Yeah.
And so the thing that the audience needs to understand is that he bought a pen, a Huion pen, a PW 100, I believe, right? And he designed this green thing, which is called a printed circuit board. And so normally, no one's ever done this before. Only tablet manufacturers have made this, and he's made one and created it, and it actually works. You can see it attached to this Lenovo machine, which is running Linux, I believe. And this is Krita, and I don't know which driver he's using, but this is the closest we've ever come to understanding how a tablet actually works. And as Tablet Kitten said, you said it was a reference implementation?
At this point, it's like sort of, for us, it's going to be like a reference sort of implementation. Right? So, like, it's not really a reference implementation, but for us, it's kind of like that.
Yeah. The thing that's exciting for me is that, and you know, we'll show some circuit diagrams and stuff, but the key thing is we've never had this kind of detail before about what goes on in the inside of a tablet. Like, people have made, I should say, not me, smart, probably done some good guesswork, done some good extrapolation from what limited information there wasn't in patents. But taking a patent and understanding what it means to actually build a device is is another topic. And Yukidama has done it. And now we can ask questions like, earlier in the stream, Tablet Kitten and I talked about diagonal wobble and theories about why it happens. Now we can actually maybe with this design understand why it might happen, why it seems to be an issue, and maybe we'll understand why it's an issue for some tablets and not others, right? And so I think it's remarkable.
We do need someone with a little more electrical engineering knowledge than maybe me.
Yeah.
I'm only sort of like a hobbyist, right? I don't really know much, but I like just designing and messing around with things. Yeah. Not on like any professional level or anything.
Yeah.
So, like the signal chain, yes, I can understand how it might work, and also like the entire circuit diagram, I do understand. The actual entirety of how like the tablet works. So if you go into re-systems at the bottom and then FM resonant technology, you'll see like this big generic FM resonant signal blockchain diagram.
Yeah.
Like that's easy to understand, right? So, the microcontroller sends out a transmit signal that goes into the driver, which is just a massive amp, or at least it looks like an amp. That goes into a switch, so a TR switch, which, when you transmit, it just transmits to the coils that gets picked up by the pen. The pen then sends a signal back, which the TR switch will switch to read. That's basically all your muxes. Like I think it's muxes. So multiplexes. I think Mikhail probably is better at explaining this than me. I'm not particularly too good at explaining. So if I do get something wrong, I do get something wrong, okay? Then that goes into the amp, which, you know, kind of just amplifies the entire signal again because, you know, honestly, you'd expect the signal to be quite weak from like the chords.
But so little energy,
right?
energy involved.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of like loss of energy, honestly. Then there's the mute switch. There's a mute like signal going there, which kind of just gets rid of the TX part. So, like before it goes into the signal processing chain, it'll have both TX and RX, right? So it'll have the transmit and also the receive after that. So what you want is just the receive because the transmit part will actually like throw off the entire like detecting.
Let me make sure I understand what you're saying.
I think that's
This
something like that.
circuit, unless you had this mute switch, right? The transmit part would be affecting the receive part.
Yes.
Is that how to interpret it?
Yeah, so the when the mute switch is like, you know, shorted, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, it'll go into ground.
Yeah.
It's a common ground. I don't think it's actual ground.
Yeah.
So it's to just, I guess, prevent the receiver from, you know, getting that TX signal. So it's just to prevent it from, like, because you see on there's TX and RX, but once you pass the mute switch part, it's only the RX part, right?
Yes.
Because if you don't do that, it'll just interfere.
Yes.
Because the pen signal is the RX part.
Oh,
right?
okay. The RX part's in blue.
Yeah.
That red to blue transition is actually demonstrating that shift.
Yeah,
transmit
so
to
I think
receive.
Mikhail, he went and put a few comments on the live chat.
Oh, interesting.
So
Let's take a look.
it's close to a
Wait,
radar array in its construction. And I myself aren't competent enough to explain it for you. Yes, I am also not competent enough.
Maybe we should just get Yukidama
Yes,
to walk us
we
through
should,
it.
somehow.
But he's got to be able to talk to us without talking to. He knows this stuff pretty deeply. He's got to be able to translate it to
He knows everything.
the 7 pens level, which is much lower than where this guy's brain is. Because he knows this stuff pretty. You can just tell by what he's writing. It's intense.
Yeah, at least I know how the bandpass filter works, so the active DPF. And then everything else is like I don't understand the detector, the integrator, but hey, why not? Just learn it anyway somehow.
I will ask him, Mihao, if you'd be up for an interview, honestly.
Yeah,
And you know, what we should do is, we should probably do a Tablet Kitten, just like you and I are on the Discord, right? We could get, I mean, if we get the timing right, we get you, Cube, Mihao, so that, you know, if it's just me, I'm not going to ask questions that you or Cube might ask, right? Because you have more advanced knowledge than me about these things, right?
Yeah.
My job is just to make sure, like, the normal human being can understand.
Yeah, cool.
Right? Okay, so I'll send him a message. Yeah, I think he's, as Mihai pointed out, he's a doctorate and working on his PhD. Okay, before we continue, I just want to, Mir showed something which on our previous topic, I just want to bring it up because this is, I believe, from XP Pen, and you got to just see this. Look at this.
Oh, it's a Line Friends one.
This is so beautiful. I love this. And there's another picture he sent.
I know the Line Friends like lineup.
And how come we just don't get tablets like this or boxes like this?
We do.
Well, I mean, XP Pen's good at their designs for their
Yeah.
boxes, but
There's also the Le Petit Prince, or like Little Prince.
oh, they do. Yeah,
I
that's
guess,
fair. That's
line
fair.
up. Oh,
I guess I'm just talking about in comparison to Wacom, right? And who?
yeah, they're kind of tame. I'd say. Maybe. I don't know.
Okay. Anything else we want to cover in Patchouli?
Not really. I don't really care
Okay.
too much
Okay.
about Patchouli right now because I can't really explain too many things.
Yeah, we need our friend Yukidama.
Yeah.
Let's see. Anything else on this topic? Okay. I think we talked about this topic.
Yeah.
Let's get to level 6 because the guy's got red eyes now. Okay, so there's the double pen trick. Do you want to explain this one?
Okay. This is a very, I guess, Wacom specific thing. I guess the most prominent of which is probably the 480 and then the 680.
Yeah.
Those things are like dumb bricks of tablets. Like they
Yeah.
really do not care what they detect. As long as it's like an EMR signal, they'll probably just work with the pen. But they won't detect it immediately. So you actually need to take the Wacom pen, place it right next to the other pen that you want to use. So
Yes.
let's say, I have a LP180 and
Yeah, like this.
my PW102, right?
Yeah.
You put them right next to together, hover on the tablet, and then you
Yeah.
take away that LP180,
Yes, and this still works.
and then the Helion will just be detected by it.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
Yeah.
it won't be detected.
yeah. In fact, I've tried this with the. Remember, the Pro Pen 3 is not compatible with the Intuos or the Cintiq Pro 27, right? I was able to do this trick to get it to see the Pro Pen 3. Now, it didn't work completely well, right? Or sorry, the other way around. Pro Pen 3 with the Intuos Pro 2017 tablet. It couldn't detect pressure correctly or the buttons, and it was kind of noisy. But like, sometimes you can fool a tablet to like recognize these other pens, which is a nice.
Yes, I got my.
Yeah.
Okay, I just got my. Oh wait, it clicks as well. Okay, so I got my 660 to work with my LP180, and it actually clicks as well.
How about pressure?
Actually, let me check quickly.
If that works, that would be amazing. Tilt will be interesting, but pressure is much more important.
Nope, doesn't work.
Okay, and
Doesn't seem to work.
just to show you how confused these devices can get. People do not believe me when I did this, but I did record a video. I was able to use with the Huion Giano, I believe. I was able to
Wait,
use
Pressure
Oh, go ahead.
works.
Pressure works. Okay.
Yeah.
And which pen is it? Which pen is it that you got it?
LP180, LP180 on my 660.
There we go. I'm gonna try this after the stream. LP180 with 660. I was able to use a keyboard as a pen. Some of you are like not gonna understand me when I'm saying, but I want you to imagine moving the pointer on the pen like this, right? Or sorry, moving the pen on the tablet like this. I was able to do that. This is not a keyboard. I was able to do that with a with a keyboard, and I'm going to show a video of me doing it because people do not believe it happened. In fact, they've accused me of faking this video, which is hilarious. But I'm going to show it to you nonetheless. Give me a moment. But you just uploaded a video, Tablet Kitten? Is that the
Yeah. Of my of my like 660.
Okay,
with
let's
the,
show that first. Let's see if I
the
can.
LP180. It is super funny. Like clearly it's compatible. I'll tell you that.
Okay, how do I get this video over there? Okay, here we go. Okay. That's the LP1, which one?
The
One
180. So
on the PTH 660.
Yep.
Damn. Okay, 2-tablet trick confirmed.
Yeah, and it has like everything working as well.
Pressure and buttons.
Pressure, yeah.
And position.
Buttons, I have not checked, but pressure does work. It's a
Okay.
pretty bad video, but yeah.
This is.
You can see in the beginning that there's pressure working,
Okay,
sort of.
I'm downloading a video, and it's going to play in a second. Let me just make sure you understand what's happening. So this is a Huion Giano, which is the tablet. This is a Keycon keyboard, and I can make this keyboard act like a pen. It won't. There's no pressure and no buttons, but the tablet will recognize precisely the position of some corner of the keyboard. And in order to do it, I have to make sure this keyboard is plugged in to a USB cable, and then I just unplug it. Okay, so watch what happens. Or maybe it works plugged in. Oh no, I had to unplug it and plug it back in. You see it? And that's not a trick. I didn't like hide the pen under the keyboard. The keyboard is actually controlling the position of the pen. And this isn't useful, but I sometimes show this to people to explain that the electromagnetic interference of other devices can do some weird things with tablets, right? So don't be surprised if you encounter something like this happen. And I was blown away when it happened because I discovered it accidentally because I had my keyboard on top of the Giano. And I saw the pointer move, but I didn't touch the pen. So I thought, how in the hell did that happen? And I just bumped my keyboard, and that's what caused it. Okay, let me close this. And where were we at? I think we got through Project Patchouli. That was this, and now we're on. Oh, Wacom. Okay, got Wacom mice. Got some Wacom mice to talk about. Okay, so
nice. Yeah.
people.
We haven't talked about that yet.
Yeah, this is for a long time. Wacom talked about other things besides pens with their tablets, and I think all the way up to until Intuos 4. So the last one was the Intuos 3. It actually gave you an actual mouse, but it wasn't a normal mouse. It was actually an EMR mouse. This one was, and you can see in the driver, they actually let you configure what the mouse does, right? And so it behaved exactly like a mouse, except it only worked on the tablet. And if you're wondering how it worked, it did not work like a normal mouse that we know today with some laser light or whatever. Think about this. Take a pen, an EMR pen, and strip the plastic from it. You'll get the coil there and the ferrite rod. Imagine taking away all this plastic and just housing it in a mouse body. That's actually what they did. It was really just a pen in a mouse body. Let's see, Mir has a comment. Oops, where's my mouse? Wrong keyboard. Okay. Keychron doesn't work with that PTH 860. So with my tablet, it was a Huion Giano. And I did try with my PTH 860. It didn't work. It did not work either.
It's pretty cool to just see it work anyway.
It is kind of wild to see it work. Absolutely. Let's see, this reminded me of someone taping their pen on a mouse and playing Osu on a tablet to avoid mouse drift. Interesting. I think I may have seen that actually.
I've done it once with
Yeah.
a broken mouse. It was pretty bad. I actually took the coils straight out and just like put the internals of the pen inside the mouse.
So one more thing that has come, and now we're getting like weird, David Letterman, when he got famous on his TV show, he had a segment called Stupid Pet Tricks, where people would come onto his show and their pet would just do something odd. And then there was even stupid human tricks. So just stupid things people do really late at night. And so now we're in the section of stupid tablet tricks, right?
Yeah.
But some of these aren't stupid, they're actually really kind of interesting. So the next one involves GIFs on the Intuos 4 series. So you may notice the Intuos 4 has these, oops, you can't see what I'm showing because I'm always hiding the scene accidentally. There we go. So the Intuos 4 series was very unique in Wacom's lineup. It had this, now this isn't paint, we see these like words. This is like an LCD, and it, depending on the driver and how you configure these buttons, you'd see the configuration here. I thought it was cool. I never used it, but it was cool to see they did something interesting, which has never been replicated. But it turns out you can talk to the tablet and configure what is shown on that LCD, and it doesn't just have to be text. In fact, our friend Tablet Expert Cube did this. So you're just seeing an image, but he could actually make this animate, right? Like a video. It's an animated GIF. So I just thought this was a great example of some untapped potential in the Wacom Intuos 4 series. And again, I think Huion, et cetera, they should do something to explore screens on their tablets. Again, we're not trying to build a monitor there, but like more diagnostic information, more status stuff. It's something cool. Who knows, right?
Yeah, like honestly, like even something just like the Intuos 4 to like label your stuff, that would be like, ooh la la.
Yeah.
I really want that on like a normal, like a Huion or a XP Pen, really.
Imagine, and you guys don't see it, but I have a Stream Deck. Everyone knows what this is, right? Stream Deck, right? So there's a big LCD here, but here you can control what's seen. So imagine something like this built into a Huion tablet, right? Just as an example.
Would absolutely love that.
It would be very interesting, wouldn't it? Right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then move my mouse. Just so everyone knows, you can go to GitHub and find the code that puts an animated GIF there. It's under Cube's GitHub account. It's PTK LED Sandbox. So the code's available. People should try it out. Okay, another thing now, which is this is going to be the scandal of the year. Oh God, you know what I'm about to say, right? Okay. So I tell you all the time there are lots of tablet experts, and I guess it's pronounced Nocdi. But if it's not pronounced that way, I hope he'll tell me. He's always coding up some wild things with tablets, and he started doing some digging. And this is a conversation that sort of different people have had over the past year at certain levels, but he went deep on this. Mir had a comment real quick. Let's see what it is. Mir said, this is interesting. I like this. I wonder if you could set up an AI VTuber on the LED to encourage when you are drawing.
Yeah, sure, someday.
That is cool. How about if it was like reacting to you, seeing you're stressed, right? Encouraging you, telling you to relax. Imagine if, I'm going to bring up a tablet for a second. Imagine if your tablet could replace your girlfriend, right? Because it supports your emotional needs, right? It's like the movie Her with Scarlett Johansson and Joaquin Phoenix, right? It's perfect. We spend so much time with our tablets, we might as well have an emotional connection to them. I love the idea, Mir. I love the idea. Okay, back to what did I call this? The Great Pressure Scandal of 2025. Okay. On Windows, you may have noticed earlier in the stream I said there was Windows Ink versus WinTab. There is an API called WinTab. There's no API called Windows Ink. That's just like a name that somehow was used to describe, I guess, essentially anything that was not WinTab. So Nocti did some investigations, and the question really was, how are apps using these APIs? And if you do, what happens to pressure levels? And so he did some investigation. And he's still got some question marks. The first thing you'll notice, though, is that besides WinTab, Windows Ink could be thought of as one of 3 different APIs. Tablet PC API, Windows Pointer API, and WinRT UWP Pointer Point API. Some of these are old in Windows XP, some of these are newer from Windows 8. And the curious thing is that he lists them as quirks. So I'll summarize it like this. Let's suppose you have a tablet like the Wacom Intuos Pro 2025 that has 8,000 pressure levels. You can use all 8,000 pressure levels, okay, in WinTab. And I don't know about Tablet PC, but let's talk about WinPointer API. You don't get to use all 8,000. You get to just use a maximum of 1,024. If you know that fact, then something really interesting happens. Let's take Krita. Krita can switch between WinTab and Windows Ink. But Windows Ink for Krita is the Windows Pointer API. And the same is true with GIMP. And Chromium, they uses the Pointer API. But what happens with the Pointer API? You get 1,024 levels of pressure. So, right now, we are of the belief that no matter what tablet you're using on Krita, the #1 open source natural media drawing program, you're not getting all your pressure levels. You're getting 1,000. Now, this isn't idle conjecture. Nocti, Cube, myself, I think Tablet Kitten maybe, we've actually looked at the code, okay? Now, and I've looked at some of the forum posts from the Krita developers as well. I think there's a decent chance we are correct. Just to let you know how Krita works, Krita used to understand how tablets worked, but they switched from doing that themselves to using a library called Qt, or Qt is how it's written out.
That's actually the widget library. But
The widget
they've got
library.
some other, so it's just UI stuff.
Got it. But they also handle the tablet stuff as part of that UI experience. Okay.
Pretty sure.
Okay, so a bunch of us looked through there, and I think Nocti has done the deepest look actually. And so Krita doesn't really, obviously it works with tablets, but it works with tablets because it uses Qt to work with the tablets. And Qt does not, when you're not using WinTab, when you're using Windows Ink, it's only got apparently only 1,000 pressure levels. Well, this is a mystery. I mean, we believe what we're saying is true. We believe this is, I call it a scandal, but we have to talk to the Krita team and get this figured out. By the way, I'm not criticizing the Krita team. I'm not even suggesting they change anything, but we have to figure this out. Because what does it mean for us? It means that if you're using Krita to test 16,000 pressure levels, you may not be testing what you think you're testing. And you instead should be using Krita and making sure you're using WinTab, okay? So that's what's going on here, okay? And Tablet Kitten, anything else you wanted to add to this?
There's also one other thing with Paintable Sci, because that also uses the Pointer API from Windows 8, right?
Yeah.
So that actually, if you're using Paintable Sci and you're using Windows Ink, you're just gonna get 1,000 level of pressure.
No matter what.
It literally,
Sorry, if you're using Paint Tool Sci, it only uses the Pointer API, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And Sci 2, is that
Also-
included
also-
when you, same thing, okay, got it.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I don't think Sci 1 even has, I don't even think Sci 1 has the Windows Ink support or something. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's
So-
only WinTab for Sci 1. And it's side 2
but
where there's
side
an
2,
option.
Yeah, there's an option for the Windows API, they call it. And it literally tells you straight up on there, right? For Windows Vista and 7, it uses Tablet PC API. On Windows 8 or later, it uses WM Pointer messages. So it uses the Pointer API,
Yeah.
which only has 1,000 levels.
Yeah. And we have a
Which,
comment here.
Yeah.
VVN, more proof high pressure levels are superfluous, considering nobody ever noticed this. Yeah. I mean, going back to my stream a week or so ago when I was going through the last 25 years of Qualcomm tablets, Pro tablets, after we jumped from jumping from 256 to 124, I think may have been noticeable. I really couldn't tell the difference from 1024 to 2048. And I certainly couldn't tell the difference from 2048 to 8192. So it lends some credence to the idea, exactly this comment. It is evidence. It is evidence. Now, again, to be fair, I think we need to send, and I'll do it, I'll send an email to, or a forum post on the Krita developers site and just ask this question and just say, hey, we've looked at this code. It's our belief that maybe, can you confirm that when using Windows Ink or the Pointer API, only 1,000 levels of pressure are used? And I'd just like to see them to say it. I'm not even going to ask them to change it. I think it'd be good if they did. But another thing, and Nokdi, and I think Tablet Kitten, you may know about this as well. It's not easy to use the new APIs.
Yeah, it really isn't.
Right?
I know he said stuff about like just the difficulty of it, but
Yeah.
I don't program myself, so I wouldn't really know. But apparently, WinTab is not too hard to use, while Windows Pointer API might be harder. I don't particularly know. No idea.
I can speak with some experience here. WinTab is it's actually a well-designed API, honestly, and
Yeah, I figured.
it's actually easy to use. And actually, because how can I say this? When you want to use WinTab to talk to a tablet, you're calling a tablet library to talk to a tablet. It's just very clear and it's in its own place. Does that make sense? Right?
Yeah.
But with these other APIs, it is mixed and matched throughout Windows.
Oh, no.
You don't know where to turn to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it's doubly confusing because the documentation doesn't. It wasn't until Nokdi wrote this table that I realized, oh my God, there are actually 3 different APIs for Windows, right? That aren't WinTab. And you can't even you can't even find good samples, right? So it's incredibly confusing. I've tried for at least a year to figure out how to call the WinRT ones, the one that came in Windows 8, Pointer Point, as is listed here. Can't even make heads or tails of it. And one of the problems here is apparently you can't just open up by the way, I'm showing my age, I just use WinForms. You can't just create a WinForms project and start using this new API. It's you have to make a UWP or WinRT app, and then guess what? No one makes WinRT apps. I think that's deprecated, right? And who knows?
I wonder why. Yeah.
Microsoft goes through so many different UI frameworks. I don't even know what they're on now, Maui or something.
Hey, went through Fluent, I think, or something. I don't know.
Which one?
Fluent? It's like the Windows 10 looking one.
Yeah, there've been so many. I gave up a long time ago because they want to change it so often.
Rest in peace, Arrow.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Arrow.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're almost at the end. Level 7, and I think there's a couple of things here I want to talk about. Let me show first and this is actually a screenshot from one of Tablet Kitten's videos. Remember the digitizer is like this green piece that has this grid of lines on it? There is a 10 Moons tablet that has a cloth digitizer.
I have it with me. I do not want to see that thing ever again. It is the worst. It is arguably the worst tablet ever made. Period.
But how does it? I mean, if you didn't know it was cloth, how well does it work?
It actually works all right.
Which is a surprising thing, right?
I have drawn on it. Like I have drawn like a few bits of art here and there.
Yeah.
It's honestly not terrible, but then like the pen itself is just bad. It's not really the actual digitizer, it's just the pen.
So yeah, this is one reason, and I'm not, listen, I don't follow 10 Moons, so I can't say if their newer ones are better, but this is one of the reasons I say stay away from brands that aren't the super popular ones, because like, I just have no clue what you're getting, right?
I definitely do.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Now another tablet, in a good way, is these tablets. Now people don't even realize these existed, and I'm showing one of them. This is the SD013A, which is one of the largest tablets ever created, and it's a real beast. It's a real beast. And I actually didn't even believe this was a Wacom tablet when Cube sent me this photo. This is from an eBay listing, actually. And what you don't know, audience, is, or I should say chat. Chat, what you don't know is, for a brief period of time, we tried and failed to buy this tablet, the very one that's in the photo. I actually volunteered $2,000 to buy this tablet. And we didn't get it. I mean, we tried to get it, but whoever was selling it, and that person was in Japan, there was some issue with like him not being able to store it or ship it, and we'd need someone to physically go to Japan and get it. It was just a mess, and someone even volunteered to do that, but we never ended up getting it, and hopefully one day we will. But the other problem is who was going to take it, because no one had space for this tablet, which is like a huge whiteboard size. And I volunteered my house since I have a lot of empty space. But even then, like it was going to occupy a lot of space, even in my house. So maybe one day we'll get this tablet. We'll see. And I think we wanted someone in the OSU community to play OSU on this tablet.
Oh, God.
And who was it though? Was it someone like that? Is that the name of the person I'm thinking of?
I haven't been following this stuff, so I wouldn't know.
Because he was on our Discord chat. But like, this is the kind of thing we wanted to. Wouldn't that be amazing to see someone see? I mean, I don't think it must be very difficult, but this is, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, since we can't get the SD013A, there's always the Helion 86-inch digitizer. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than that thing.
But that's a pen display, right? That's a pen display, right?
Actually, you can get it as a digitizer through the OEM solutions.
Is there any clue? I mean, I know they don't sell it sort of business to consumer, but like, was there any idea about how much it cost?
I don't know how much the Canvas Hub costs.
Okay.
But it is the largest digitizer I know of that's ever been made.
Yeah, I can't imagine anything. I've never seen anything bigger. I never heard of it. Okay, some of these are pretty esoteric, and I don't have all the information on this level 7, but I know you had a couple of items you want to talk about.
Yeah, so quite a lot actually. So the 8000 Hertz PTH X60. So when it scans for pressure like way faster than the report rate, right? So basically, what happens is you press down, and then it'll immediately like register the click, right? Or like immediately register the pressure. So That's really interesting. I don't know how it works. Otherwise, there's the
So let me make sure I
color
understand.
smoothing algorithm, which I
Yeah.
don't completely remember what it was supposed to be, but I think Cube can.
Okay.
Cube can.
But
explain
let
that.
me, can we go back to the 8,000 hertz for a second?
Yeah.
You're saying that, so what is the 8,000 hertz? It's how fast it's scanning or reporting or?
Scanning the pressure. At least this is what Cube was saying, though I don't
Okay.
remember exactly what he said. I think it's just better off asking Cube.
Okay.
Yeah, because like I know the general gist of it, and that's when you do press down the pen, it'll immediately register pressure, and then it'll immediately go to your computer, right?
Yes.
Instead
yes.
of waiting for the next report. So we'll make an extra report just for the activation.
Yes.
Sort of like the click. I don't know where Cube got the 8,000 hertz from. I don't know.
Okay.
Simple
okay.
as that. Yeah. And then the CTL 680, I sent you a picture on Discord you can bring out.
Let's take a look at it.
It's the first one from the Cube server that I forwarded. That's actually a CTL 680. It's, I don't know where they sell it. I think it's a Japan only thing, but don't quote me on that. But it is like, hold on a sec, is that in Chinese? That might be a Hong Kong model.
You're talking about this tablet, right? 680?
Yes. Yeah, the CTL 680. Found it?
You can see it, right?
I'm just looking on the
Okay,
YouTube
okay.
stream, so it takes a little while sometimes. Yeah,
Okay.
but it is that one. That one, basically, I think it's the only one in existence that anyone on the Cube server has found. Yeah, very interesting. Because they didn't sell the CTL 680 anywhere, I think, outside of like somewhere in Asia.
So what makes this
Because that
special
looks
is that it's really rare. Is that it?
Yeah, it is extremely, extremely rare.
Got it.
Yeah, because this one has Chinese on there. Yeah, so this one isn't a Japanese model. This one's a Chinese model.
Got it.
Yeah, so not sure where that came from. Looks like it's a Hong Kong like link.
I'll have to see if I can get it just for my collection. Since it's so rare.
Good luck. Good luck.
It's super rare, huh?
It is extremely rare. You don't find that anywhere. Back to the iceberg thing though. There's
Yes.
also the Huion China and global pressure level mismatch. So
Okay,
certain
yeah.
models,
Yeah.
off the top of my head at least, there's the Canvas Pro 24, the 4K.
Yeah.
Like I think with the Pentec 3 whatever. That one has 16K levels of pressure in China. However, if you buy it from like in the global market, it's going to be 8,000 levels. It's really weird.
What?
Yeah, so the Chinese version of it has 16K levels, but the global variant doesn't. At least
Wait,
that's
same
what the specs
hardware.
list.
Same hardware.
Same hardware, same exact hardware, same pen, but there's a different pressure level for the Chinese one.
How can there be
Firmware.
the firmware? But what is the if condition in the firmware?
No, like it's just like a different version of the firmware, I think.
Oh, I see. There's a special firmware. You're thinking there's a
Something like
special.
that going on.
Okay.
That's
I
what I'm
understand.
speculating, considering
Why do you
that
think they would
UG
bother?
is yeah, UG is like firmware updating, so it's not like Huion couldn't do that.
Why do you think they would even bother?
I don't know, but they don't have a Canvas Pro 14 with Pentec 4, so I guess they kind of just make do with it.
So Mir has a question. Is there a difference between the CTL 680 and the CTH 680M?
I think it's just a region code. Oh wait, no,
Oh.
CT. Oh, okay, that's an accidental
Or 680, he meant to, yeah, M.
Yeah. Probably just the fact that the CTL 680 doesn't have touch and also doesn't have the eraser side on the pen.
Oh, the
what
H
it
actually
is.
does indicate touch in this case.
H does actually indicate touch.
Oh, wow.
For,
And this, yeah.
For consumer and also pro level. So, you know, the PTK 670 that got rid of touch. And actually, PTK 5, no, not 5. PTK 450, there was also a PTH 450, I think. Or was it 451?
I always forget that Wacom had touch on some consumer tablets.
Oh, yeah.
Because in my head,
so
it's always a pro thing.
So CTH 690 and
Yeah.
also the 490.
Yeah.
And there was also the CTO versions of that, which just didn't have touch. And then there's also the CTL. I don't think they made a Force. I don't know anything before like the Intuos. That.
Okay.
But yeah. Based on the pattern that we see, the L just kind of means like I guess a base model for the consumer, while K is like sort of the base model for like the base letter for professional tablets after the Intuos 4. I'm still working on that, figuring out like
Okay.
what everything means, because I think P or C, that means consumer or professional one.
Yes,
That's
yes.
very simple. T and T is I think it's just there. And then K, Z, L or whatever, or C even, so like CTC, CTL, CTH, PTK, PTH and all that, and also PTZ for the Intuos 3, which is sort of special. I think that one is just to denote the technology, or like the EMR generation maybe, or like
Yeah.
the EMR technology. I don't know. And yeah, the CTT as well. The CTT
I have never heard
or
of CTT.
60. Oh, that's touch only, so it doesn't have EMR at all.
Never.
I know Cube knows. This.
Okay. Anything else you wanted to bring up here? There's one I definitely want to talk about.
Yep.
It's the last one.
Oh yes, the Hanwon Yuji barely SFW ads.
Are
we're
they
not
safe
showing
enough?
that here.
No, they're that bad?
No, it's just suggestive, and I don't want to put it here. Like I
Okay,
don't think it's a good
okay.
idea for the stream because
Okay.
it is
okay.
quite suggestive. There are slightly NSFW sort of themes, but
Wow,
it's
okay.
barely SFW, I think.
Oh, sorry.
Um,
Okay. They're just
so it's a better idea not to.
okay. I don't want to take the risk. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's on their Bilibili. Watch it in your own time. If you want.
Okay. I'll secretly watch.
Yeah, it's actually on their official Bilibili account.
Oh my god. Okay, now we're at level 8.
And actually,
Now-
Wacom did the same thing with a collab with an artist on Bilibili as well, on their
Really?
like official channel as well.
I have
Just look it up in your own time.
Wow. Okay. Well, I guess I definitely will. Don't get me wrong. Okay, now we're level 8, which is when we're ascending.
Oh yes.
So, what? A lot of these I think I need Cube for.
Yes, Cube
but
was-
there's a couple of things I did want to bring up. First is this Wacom DJ mixer. Did anyone know this existed?
The next beat.
The next beat. And the idea that they would have gone into this as a product line is wild. Now, I have no idea how well this did, if anyone liked it, if it was a good device, but it is a real device. And you can find like actual reviews of the device, right? I don't even know how Wacom decided to get into this, but yeah, it's a real thing. And speaking of real things, Hanvon, you said, has introduced something.
Yeah. They have air purifiers. Because
They
they're
have,
OEM,
like
right?
currently.
Yeah, they're actually an OEM for like a lot of different things. So they've got mouse pens, like e-readers. They also have a scanning thingy-mabob that like
Okay.
inputs text
Okay.
from scanning like text, like paper and all that with
Yeah.
like printed text on there. There's also like professional scanners, like scanning documents and all that, and like all that stuff, and also like facial recognition things. It's cool, right? And they also
Well-
have like a PM5 2.5 detectors.
So I guess someone made a comment earlier about the what Hanvan UG was, right? So I guess this lends credence to that because it's like they're just Hanvan itself, not Hanvan UG, is involved in a lot more things than tablets, right?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
They also
Okay.
have like cloud solutions or whatever.
Oh wow, so it's pretty diverse, their offerings.
Yeah.
Okay, and anything else you wanted to mention here?
Oh, I feel like I could put like a lot more like Chinese side of things
Yeah.
here. Random brands like Yanova, Moyunu. Oh yes, and that Audi tablet.
The Aldi. Oh yeah, let me just write it down.
Yeah, when a supermarket makes a tablet, obviously it's one of their private labels, right? But like it's still made by the supermarket. I don't know what tech this uses. I don't know anything about this. I just have it.
You've got one.
Oh, yes. The pictures I sent to you.
Yes. Yes.
They're actually pictures I took.
Did you?
I have it
is
with me.
Is it in the chat? In our.
In the DMs. In the DMs.
In the DMs. Okay, hang on, folks.
Yeah.
Let's see.
You have to scroll up a little.
Shoot. Scroll up.
But like, I don't think anyone's mentioned it anywhere on Cube's server or on the Drawing Tablet server.
Where am I looking at here? When did you send it?
Just today. Right underneath the picture for the CTL 680.
Okay, that helps.
It's the first picture is just the warranty details and the instruction manual, so looks a bit odd. The third
Does it say
picture's,
Medion? It says Medion, right?
Medion. Yeah,
Okay,
Medion.
there we go. There we go. Okay.
It is.
It's hard to believe this exists.
Yeah,
be quite honest.
it does exist, right?
Where's
Audi,
where-
Audi Sud actually, so the South Audi, not the North Audi.
Where do we see the name Aldi on this?
In the warranty details. So Medion is their private label.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's part of Audi Australia, I think. Maybe Germany, I don't know. But yeah, they made a USB graphics pad, as they call it.
There's another photo. Let me bring it out there.
Yeah, it is incredible that they did that though. I was actually really surprised, like seeing this thing for the first time, because I was in a op shop, so like a thrift store.
Yeah.
Checking some stuff, like finding some DVDs to watch later, and then I just stumbled across this thing, and I'm like, what the hell is this?
The styling is definitely wild. Like it's just not what I
Yeah.
expect.
Yeah, like it's so out of the blue, right? Because I know Audi sells. They actually sold a. They sold the CTL 4100.
Yeah.
I think last year as like a special drop or whatever. But I did not know that they made a drawing tablet. Like, come on.
It's
That's insane though. To think about. I have never seen this design for a drawing tablet anywhere.
I'm intrigued by this angular thing on the right side. You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, that's probably like a weird contour or something. Because that's
Like-
basically what it is.
Like it just
It's a
looks
weird-
so interesting.
Yeah, like I've never seen this tablet design anywhere. And also it looks like it's using some
some battery pen as well, because in the manual there's like a battery
Yeah.
process thingy.
Wild.
Like battery swapping process. I'll need to take this thing apart and actually check the insides if I want to know
Yes.
who the hell made it.
Yes.
But I
Love
haven't
to know
gone to
that.
it because the screws are all hidden.
Ah.
Yes,
Okay.
great design.
Let's see. Anything else? LCS.
Everything else is we need cube.
We need Cube. Yeah. Yeah. And not only because he knows it, because I think he can tell a better story. I remember I might be able to summarize one of them, but I don't know the story behind it, right? And I think he just the official JavaScript tablet driver just seems like a weird statement, and I think only he would be able to capture what this is really about, right? And the LCS telegraphics topic. But we went through a lot.
Yeah,
We went through a lot, and so this is good. And I'll try to take the notes from this and enhance this and make any corrections, etc.
Yeah.
Okay,
Definitely.
I think we are. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I think I lost my audio.
3.5 hours already of a stream.
I think my if you can hear me, Tablet Kitten, just let me know. I think my
Oh, yeah, I can hear you.
what do you call it? Sorry, oops. My earbuds ran out of power, so I'm just gotta get to my. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I lost audio for some reason.
Oh, interesting.
They didn't lose power; they just disconnected. But they
It
automatically
just
disconnected.
happens. Guess it just
Okay.
happens.
It just happens. Okay, I think we're good. I think we did some fun stuff. There's still plenty more to talk about, and I think my follow-ups are let's get Cube on here, and I'll send a message to Yukidama,
Yeah,
and let's do a joint interview with him. Okay, I guess it was really the audio of this thing. Hang on.
Yeah.
That
I mean,
is
it doesn't really have to be live streamed.
so lame.
Just a recorded interview might work, honestly.
Okay, hopefully this works. Okay, I think I'm back in business. Can you say something?
Hello.
Okay, I can hear you. Thank you. I just think I look ridiculous with these earphones on, so I try to use these all the time, the AirPod Pros.
Okay.
Okay, and I think the last thing I said was, yeah, I'll just contact Yukidama in range, and then yeah, I think we're good. We had this was a good session. This was a fantastic session.
Got
Okay.
a lot of stuff out of it, honestly.
Good, and I think some of this is going to be for anyone who's brave enough to listen to 3.5 hours of people talk about tablets. We went through some of the most wild esoteric things ever, right? And so now there's an official record that these concepts and these topics exist, and hopefully future archaeologists, tablet archaeologists, will use this as a basis for their research.
I've archived quite a bit of it.
Good. Okay, let's say our goodbyes. Everyone, thank you so much for the stream and asking questions and staying online. We appreciate it. And I'll be doing another stream soon. Okay?
Yeah. See you guys.
Have a great day, everyone.